Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 108. Hello out there, I am your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me this week is Michael Pisciuneri.
Hey, what's crack-a-lackin'?
And here as always, except when he's not, BT Calloway.
Still not dead.
We've checked. And thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. This is the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. How you been, Michael? Been a while since you've been on the show?
Yeah, I was going good until you showed me that pile of shit.
But how do you really feel?
Yeah. No, it's funny.
No, I'm good now.
Spent like all dinner tearing Bohemian Rhapsody to shreds, and then we were bitching about Red Dead a bit, and now we get to have another conversation where we're bitching about an episode from the HD era. This is season 25, episode 21, PayPal. 2 words.
Right.
Yeah. First released in May of 2014. It was directed by Michael Pisciuneri. I almost said your name then. And it was written by David H. Steinberg. In this episode, okay, it's like 2 episodes mashed together where it starts out, it's about Homer embarrassing Marge at a dinner party, and then it's about Marge paying for someone to be Lisa's friend. Guys, what did you think?
What was the writer's name again?
David H. Steinberg.
He's not on the shit list, yes, but he's getting there. He's on the waiting list for the shit list.
No, I think that this could have been a really great episode.
There were pieces, yeah.
Yeah, there were definitely pieces there, and I couldn't understand. It felt like the episode, or whoever wrote it, didn't realize what they had with the concepts, and they stretched out a whole bunch of jokes that did not make sense.
Yeah.
The couch gag they stretched out, but had its moments of being funny.
Yeah.
And then you just had what could have been a really good A story and B story just meshed into one really shit A story.
Yeah, it was like they almost forgot to draw their own parallel, like in the episode, because they just forget about Homer in the second half, and it's all about this Lisa plot, which needed to draw a parallel to the Homer thing. Like, it felt like that's what they were going for.
I did enjoy that for once Marge fucked up with Lisa rather than Homer.
Yeah.
Homer's just like, oh my God, for once I'm the good parent.
It's such a shame because it is like good intentioned Marge, but yeah, she'd done something bad. But anyway, let's get into it. So, Michael, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
Oh, the topiary, how do you say it? Topiary war? Topiary wars.
Yeah.
I thought, like, when I saw that, I actually started to giggle a bit. Yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, this will be interesting.
Yeah. I like the exit line on that as well. Why is this on the History Channel?
Yeah, that was good.
Military history as well. Like,
and even just, like, seeing the way they were, like, making the show look more interesting, like they do with most reality shows now, like the sword welding one that's on
or the one, like, snarky judge, like, make quips and that's their whole bumper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in an era where Great British Bake Off is an international sensation, I could totally buy that Topiary Wars would be a thing.
Yeah.
To be fair, that might be a great show. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I could believe it.
How about you, BT? For better or worse, what's a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
Okay, it's where we transition between our 2 major plot points. So Marge and Homer decide to go to this couple's friends game night thing, and they're doing like the whole murder mystery bit. You know, the guy's getting all psyched up for it. He's like, the next 3 hours you're gonna be in costume, you're gonna have period accurate food and yada yada. And Homer's just like, oh, I've got a question. This card says such and such did it. And like everyone gets furious at him when Homer didn't realize what he was doing. He was just reading the card he was given, so he was just given the wrong card. B, the host slaps Homer, and then Marge gets mad at him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, someone assaulted my husband. You bastard, Homer. It's like, what?
Also,
for once, he didn't do anything.
Also, the whole thing they were setting up was that this guy is like, this is a momentous occasion.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking Foley artist because he wants this to be so perfect. Yet he gives the wrong card to Homer.
Yeah.
After all that.
All that kind of work.
Also, he's meant to be like super duper charming and shit, and then just slaps Homer like.
Yeah, that was such a weird jump to he just attacks him. It's like, okay, right. Yeah, just Marge's, rage at him because then they had that long extended joke with the walking home. Marge's like, oh, I just want to be alone. Homer's like, okay, And he walked behind her a little bit, more alone. Yeah, walks to the other side of the street, more alone. It keeps going on, and wasn't funny.
As soon as he moved to the fucking sidewalk, I was like,
Yeah.
I bet they're gonna fucking double down on this stupid joke, and
Well, you
he's
were
gonna
wrong.
go
They
over
quadrupled
the
down.
fucking house into the backyard, then
Yeah.
he's gonna go into fucking a couple blocks down.
But it's not like they did anything really interesting with it. It might have actually been funny if he went all parkour on it and was.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, by that time, it's so overextended.
Or even if they just carried on with the plot point of them wanting a friend as a couple, that would have been something. But I mean, getting back to the point though, bit that stands out to me is just how angry Marge gets at Homer when he didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
He was confused about the game, he made a mistake, and he got attacked.
And having that character slap Homer just put more sympathy on Homer.
Yeah, it
and
was a really dumb move.
Yeah,
like-
and it made Marge less likable because she didn't side with her husband. So
Yeah.
For real, I think what they're expecting is us to go off past history of Homer, fucking shit up all the time. But these are things you kind of need to reestablish in
at least
episode.
when he fucks things up, it's usually his fault, or he's
Yeah.
being lazy, or he's being stupid, or he isn't caring. He was asking a question about the game he was meant to be playing.
what season was this? 25?
25.
Okay, well, that bit when she had the imaginary space bubble scenario of what Homer's like in these situations, why not just show flashbacks of like the 25 fucking past
Times
years
he's
where
done
he's
that.
done that, and then re-establish to your audience why...
Yeah, go back to like the catfish episode. Where,
or when he got drunk and was looking at Maud and shit.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
Well, yeah, and look, the part of the episode that stands out to me is actually Marge's big setting the rules sort of montagey thing where it's like...
because this was a really poorly edited bit as well.
Yeah, they're doing the thing where they're showing lapse of time by them doing different activities, and Marge is still telling a bunch of rules, and it just makes her look shitty. And
Yeah, and the part I disliked about that is it starts off like, okay, so we're going to this party, and she starts laying down rule 1, rule 2, and then it cuts to them in the car, and so I'm like, okay, they're driving to the party now.
Yes.
But then it cuts to Homer in the shower, and she's still like, wait, is he having a shower at the party? So no, this is all the day before. But then that cut to having a character state, we're going to this thing, next shot, you're in a car. The natural assumption, due to the Kushlov effect or whatever the fucking thing is called, is that this is flowing on from the next scene and that we're going to the party. We're going to the thing the character said. It was a really poor cut and it was confusing.
yeah,
Also led into like after the whole montage of Marge, saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And then Homer's like, oh, but I can drink at least. And she's like, no, just only have one drink and this and that. After all this whinging and complaining, then Marge is like, just be yourself. And I'm like, fuck off. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
It almost works. She has this line of, oh, well, you were charming enough to win me over. Just, you can do this. And then I was like...
But then he opens this Duffman app that's like, you can drink in 30 minutes. Like, don't tell your wife about this. What the fuck is this joke?
Like, it's counting down to when he can drink, but it's like...
when he's going to be drunk.
I guess.
but wasn't he turning it off or some shit? Powering it down?
Yeah.
As
I don't have-
Duffman was saying.
Yeah, I have no idea. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
Never have I ever.
Thankfully, 0 before this day.
Yeah.
Yes, before today.
I know I've watched it once, and in my personal spreadsheet, I marked it a bronze. And anyway,
It gets better, I will say. Like,
Yeah.
once it gets past the midpoint, it does improve, but not a hell of a lot.
yeah. But how about some of the wacky moments in this episode?
Gil and Shauna make out.
Yeah, odd pairing of
Yeah, very weird. Don't know why that happened, but it did.
Like, I just want to point out that none of the jokes were funny then. It was, just typical Gil going on with that, cha-cha, and we used to have green
Yeah.
cards. You remember green cards? And
We call them grey cards.
I'll make out with you if you just shut up. And then he's still talking. Like, I don't know. There wasn't a joke. There wasn't an actual joke.
It's like, isn't it hard to get Gil to shut up? Waka waka.
Mm.
Marge is reading Embarrassed Shopper magazine. I did like that.
I am marking that down for the socials. That was a very good sight gag.
The gym teacher throwing the dodgeballs like while
Yeah.
playing violin.
During square dancing. I did like that.
Bombardment guy. Here's a character that gets a very mixed reaction
Yeah,
from
very-
the Simpsons Index.
Very polarizing. I like him.
Yeah, I like him sometimes.
Yeah, I do like the idea that, because we all did dancing in school during gym, we all hated it. And I do like the suggestion that even the teacher hates it as well.
Yeah.
And just to make it more like a thing he likes, he starts throwing dodgeballs at them.
Yeah, But I will say I liked this one because he made it rhyme and it was funny and yeah, he can inexplicably play a fiddle very well.
Well, he's committed to his job as an educator, even if it is physical education, even if it is dance.
I think it was Andrew from Hottest 100s and Thousands that said, yeah, there is something inherently funny about a gym teacher throwing balls at children and screaming bombardment.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's been more egregious, I feel. Yeah, this one was...
It's been a bit hit and miss, but overall I do it. Bombardment!
The wacky moment I want to bring up is Gus Hubner.
Okay.
Do you guys remember Gus Hubner?
I do not. Oh, wait, yeah, no, there it is. In that whole scene that was an entire fucking pointless pile of nothing.
Yeah, I think you screamed out at one point, Michael. What was the point of that?
I did, because like the weird thing as well is that there was such a golden opportunity to like get the story moving quicker by just having this moment of Lisa when she did see, what the fuck is his name? Gus
Hubner.
Yeah, when she did see him and he was on his way out, I was like, okay, here we go. And the writers decided, no, fuck that, because then the scene would have had a point, and he just fucked off.
Yeah, that whole thing was pointless. So this was like the low point for the episode for me. So it goes from they can't have a nice couples friend, but then Marge noticed that Lisa doesn't have any friends and is kind of used to it.
So this is just like, when the episode has this hard pivot.
Yeah. And I literally wrote down, okay, so this is about Lisa, sure. And then they literally go from a scene that says, we've got to get Lisa a friend, cut to this party they're throwing, and they go, where are Lisa's friends? It's like, you just said she doesn't have any. And they kind of save it a little bit by going, we invited everyone she knows. But like, inviting people she knows is not the same as getting her a friend or encouraging her to make friends. It's just, it was just irritatingly dumb. And then the whole thing goes by and Lisa doesn't even see them. So this whole scene, which is like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes out of the entire episode, is pointless. There is nothing to this.
Yeah, and it feels like the only reason that they wrote it in is so they could have this kid gets a party in a minute sort of thing. Yeah. But I don't know, just visually, what are the jokes here? There was Homer blowing the piñata with a shotgun to move it along. Okay.
Stuff, and then rapidly getting his face painted and
like while one thing's going on, he's pitchforking the bounce house down. I don't know.
No, but overall it was pointless because nothing changed between before that scene and after. You could remove it completely, it would make no difference.
Yeah.
And the idea at this point is to go through the various things they try to get Lisa a friend before they reach the desperate act of paying someone to be her friend. But that wasn't it. Let's just invite a bunch of people. But then she never spoke to anyone.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any, let's get you into an extracurricular activity and maybe you can meet some friends there. Or here's a club about a thing you like. It was just, and that's followed up again by Marge meets with Miss Hoover and is just like, why is Lisa having trouble making friends? And then, to be fair, this joke is kind of good. With Miss Hoover's like, well, this is where I usually just writes on the whiteboard, eat lunch.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap this up. Lisa is unique. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It just writes that all on the chalkboard, which is kind of funny. But again, it's pointless. You could cut it completely and it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree. That whole party thing did not need to happen. It's it's as simple as that.
I mean, it could have happened in different sort of contexts if, like, I don't know, Lisa was starting to get along with one friend, but like Marge and Homer at the end of the episode kind of had this party to try and get more friends to come, but only one friend came, but Lisa was just happy anyway because of the one friend.
She needs one and that'll be enough.
She only needs one and then she kept that friend. Yeah, it would kind of get this point across that, you don't need to have a whole bunch of friends. You just need like that one good friend.
Which I guess is why this scene was so pointless, because it had no impact on Lisa. And then it had no real impact on the rest of the episode.
It had not really a lot of jokes, except for the whole try to rush one kid through a party bit.
Oh, actually, I will say the one joke that I did like that came on from it when Lisa does get home and Gus is leaving and she goes, Gus Hubner? And he goes, haha, I wish. That kid could really play soccer. But also his voice was so annoying.
Yeah, we were very glad he was gone.
Yes.
But it doesn't move the plot and doesn't affect the characters, so why have it?
Such bullshit. Any other wacky moments?
I do like Flanders' no alarm chili.
Yeah.
Or you can taste his spoon.
It does go against Homer's chili episode where Flanders is actually quite into making at least 2 alarm chili.
But then he lies about it.
Yeah.
I like that. He's just made 0.
Yeah, but that joke is great. You can only taste a spoon. All right, so how about some of the heart moments in this episode? What did you guys think of the bumps?
They tried for it at the end when, Lisa finds out what Marge did, and Marge is all like, I just tried to do it because I was trying to make you happy. And Lisa's all like, you've made everything terrible. I kind of like a line of, I'm going to tell every therapist I ever go to what you did.
Yeah.
And then they kind of get a little bit where, Marge starts crying and Lisa's like, Mom's crying. I could use this to get anything I want. And what I want for is her to stop crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice, actually. One of those episodes and newer episodes that I've watched where like there were so many moments where you could have inserted some heart and instead what they do is, no, let's just double down on a really shit visual joke. Like that moment when Homer left Marge some space or whatever and went to the sidewalk. Like that could have been a heartfelt moment where like Homer realized how much he fucked up and hurt Marge and like how much this means to her. But the writers decided to go with some shitty gag that wasn't even funny instead.
Yeah, that's a shame. It would have been all right, actually, if the joke was like, he was like looking across the road, Marge is looking down, he's just locked eyes on her, and he's like, oh, and then he runs into something.
Yeah.
And rather than, just doing
climbing
a
on
bunch
roofs
of
and
ceiling hopping.
Yeah.
The heart of this episode tries to exist with this whole Marge-Lisa relationship, which I felt like they just didn't do from the start.
Yeah, it needed to be peppered throughout, so it meant more when we got there. I mean, it just felt like it doubled down all the heart right at the end, which it did to good effect. But yeah, lead us there with breadcrumbs.
Yeah, because that scene when Marge and Homer are in bed and the kids just sort of one by one come on by their door, like that felt like such an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like to insert that seed, that breadcrumb.
Yeah,
because
they've gone, well, Marge and Homer don't have any couples friends, but we want this to be about Lisa. I guess she just walks past their door and says, oh, I don't have any friends, and it's fine. It's like, wait, what? And then someone else went, well, that's kind of weird. Why would you do that? She goes, you're right. Let's have all 3 kids walk past their door. That makes so much more sense.
And yeah, let's have Bart mention a dark hypothetical in which Marge kills Lisa. That'll be fun.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should have been like an inciting incident where like the parents realize that Lisa doesn't have friends rather than her just telling them. Like, why? That's so weird.
Or even then, have Marge bummed out on the kitchen table going, oh, I guess we're just too old to have friends. And Lisa going, oh, don't worry about it, Mom. I'm perfectly happy and I don't really have any friends. And that's the same thing. It's just a little more
natural
clean.
And like,
yeah.
Yeah, because there wouldn't really be much wrong with having an episode like this where it's sort of in 2 halves, but my big problem is that it doesn't relate back to Homer at all in the second half, especially because when he was relieved to get out of it and he goes to Maggie, woohoo, cute, but also it didn't mean anything. Maggie wasn't getting anything out of it. It's not like he's going to spend more time with her.
No.
But also, like, there should have been a point of Homer, like, going, oh, Marge really wants this. I should just, suffer through going to couples parties and just try and be on my best behavior for her. But there wasn't any of that. So, yeah, I'm talking about the heart that wasn't. So ultimately...
That's a beautiful title, by the way, The Heart That Wasn't.
By, I don't know any authors. Jane Austen.
Sure. Jane Austen Shakespeare.
Jane Austen Powers.
Get out.
What's a Jane Austen book?
Pride and Prejudice.
Great Expectations, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
Great Expectations of This Spy Who Shagged Me.
Great Sexpectations. Boom. Nailed it.
Shagspectations.
Oh, yeah, baby. So ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
It felt like a modern Simpsons episode. It sure as hell didn't feel like a classic one, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was just so scattershot, especially that first half, that it was hard to grip onto anything solid and say whether or not a character felt right like themselves in that moment. Just so unconnected to anything, I can't even answer the question.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Look, I mean, the biggest character bending and breaking, I think, actually comes from Marge in this episode, where she's not so much breaking character in the start, but she is unjustified in ragging on Homer. But then in the second half of the episode, she is bending her character, but in a way I like. I think she had good intentions, but she didn't realize actually how horrible she was being.
Yeah, and I think the lead-in is the big problem as well, because I imagine in Marge's mind, she'd do things like, oh, you know what, honey, I'm going to make you a cake to bring into school. Everyone loves cake, and that'll make you the most popular girl there is. And that kind of thing, that's a very... have a few of the Margian turns, give her those kind of things that she would do, and then they don't work. And then when she's out of options, then she hires someone. Sorry.
No, I was going to agree with that. Yeah, that warped sort of view from the mother's perspective of this is really cool, and then it's not at all, and it just makes things worse. Could be a great sympathetic way to relate with Marge in that she's trying to make Lisa help her get friends, but just keeps failing because she fails to understand.
Yeah, because she doesn't understand. She'll be like, "You'll be the raddest kid in school," and doesn't get it. So go from Lisa trying to cheer Marge up about it's okay, Mom, I don't have any friends and I'm doing fine, trying to make her say that's all fine. Then Marge tries to help, have her do the classic comedy threes. Three attempts of being very Margian, even through a montage if we have to, of the way she thinks making friends work, and they all fall flat. Then at desperation, she hires a friend. Boom.
Yeah, I just want to say, it's not the sign of a good episode where every single question ends up being, what would we change? Because there's not any serious integrity breaks here, but the show as a whole just feels off. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
No.
Nient.
Nope. And BT, what would you change?
I mean, I think I just said it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I can go into it again if you like. Either that or just stick with your A-plot of Marge and Homer trying to find a couple's friend.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting enough. There's some wackiness to get out of that.
Absolutely. How about you, Michael? Anything you'd like to change?
Yeah, heaps. I mean, cut down on all the filler, that shitty joke with Gil. Get rid of that. Get rid of the whole festival thing. I reckon that you could have just started it with Marge and Homer going to the party and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
And on the way there, Marge is kind of lightly nagging him, not a whole montage of nagging, but lightly. Make Homer's more flawed as far as why the party fucks up and screws up the whole night. As we said, don't force the exposition as far as Lisa just coming up to him and be like, I have no friends, but I'm happy. And then, have Lisa get an actual friend, but it has nothing to do with Marge's involvement. That way Marge can kind of be like, oh, we never really needed to force it. Lisa's time is coming. I mean, she's only 8.
Yeah.
So, it's going to happen with time. Maybe you could still have her pay the friend, and then maybe the friend actually comes to Marge and says, you don't have to pay me anymore. I actually like spending time with Lisa. And then Lisa finds out that Marge was paying her before, and then it becomes this whole thing of the friend having to try and prove to Lisa, that she actually does want to be friends with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And then, have it end with Lisa actually having her as a friend continue. Because at this point with The Simpsons, I mean, I feel like they would benefit from kind of having stories continue.
Yeah, a little bit more continuity throughout is going to...
And they've got a serious lack of female characters as well.
Exactly. So then have an impact. I mean, it's been 25 years and Lisa hasn't really had a proper friend character. Give her one.
Yeah.
Give her a Millhouse.
Yeah, give her a Millhouse.
But even then, recapping this entire plot, I'm just like, you know what? Just go watch 10 Things I Hate About You and steal their plotline. They already stole it from Shakespeare, so why the fuck not?
Yeah.
It's just a stealingception.
Yeah, fine.
But yeah, because Toomey as well, she wasn't even played by a guest actor or anything,
Just Tress MacNeille again?
No, I think that was, might have been Maggie Rosewell, I'm not sure.
Nope, BT's right. It was Tress MacNeille.
But yeah, I don't know that I really want to see the Lisa story play out is what I change anyway. I'm actually more interested in the first half with Homer and Marge and the dinner party as well. And John fucking Oliver.
I know, wasted John Oliver.
Guest star for this episode that just got completely wasted.
That's what they do with guest stars lately, though.
Yeah.
Guest starring this person. How long are they on? 2 minutes, bye.
So I want to see more of this party because I think it's an interesting thing for them to mine where Homer and Marge, they've been married for years, they've 3 active children, all that, and they probably haven't had a lot of time to make friends, and for an opportunity to come along, I think there is a lot more stuff to mine there, and especially like I was saying before, have it be something that Homer sucks up and goes to these couples nights where he doesn't drink so that Marge will let him off the hook to go, hang out with the seedy barflies every other night of the week. I think there is so much more interesting story to mine there.
Yeah.
Another point as well is have the mystery game play out. That could have also been another interesting thing.
Yeah.
It's this episode had like 5-6 different ideas that were completely wasted. Like they could have had the mystery happen, and it could have led to maybe Marge meeting a friend naturally through that.
Yeah,
or
that could have been something. And if you absolutely had to have Homer ruin it, have him ruin it halfway through in character. That would have been funny. Like he gets into a fight being the aristocratic Russian guy he's supposed to be. He's like, I'm sorry, but I was playing in character.
Yeah. Or like there could have been this tension between Marge and Homer where like they don't feel like they're working as a team or something like that. And then the game ends up bringing them like more cooperative sort of sense.
Kind of bottle episode in the house. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That would have been great.
It's a different dynamic. Bob's Burgers would make it work.
Wait, which cartoon did it? Oh, fucking Adventure Time.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about that, and I think I'd like it if Homer, like, about halfway through, like, still wasn't getting the game. Like, because it's kind of weird, you know, live action role playing, you know.
LARP.
Yeah. That sounds like a LARP. Yeah, and if he was just like, oh, I just need some hints, and then he, like, looked up the game on his phone or something and, like, stumbled upon the answer somehow and blurted it out.
There were other ways to do it. Yeah, I like the idea of sticking with the original plotline a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's not like he would have had a phone because, weirdly, for a 2014 episode, this episode had a lot of antiquated technology.
It did, like Bart's watching TV, like on this weird portable, looks like I don't even know what that was. It was
a TV that like had the most depth of all of its dimensions.
Yeah, it looks
width, height.
It's like a CRT mini TV.
Yeah, but like one designed for a boat or something. It did not look like. It didn't even look like a regular mini TV. It was what.
Yeah, and then Lisa and Toomey were listening to the radio.
Yeah.
And I think I said to you guys, like, well, do they not have podcasts in modern Simpsons?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, this is other guest stars of the episode, Carl Kessel and Peter Segel from the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me show. They made an appearance in a pretty forgettable and unnecessary bit.
In the sense that I've already forgotten it.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, I got when they, like, went to the record store because, weirdly, vinyl has had a bit of an uptick lately, and where else are you going to listen to jazz these days?
Yeah, and I do like the name of it, All Sales of Vinyl.
Ah.
Yeah.
I didn't... Oh, that's a very good pun.
Yeah, it was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, snaps for the pun.
Yep.
Snaps. Groovy.
Out of set.
I like how she had the lingo, actually. Oh, fuck, what was Bart's line? Even the guys playing it had to take drugs. No one likes jazz. Oh, very good. BT, any other notes?
Indeed I do. That itchy and scratchy episode at the beginning goes way too long.
That's gory as fuck,
Gory
though.
as fuck.
Like, I loved it in terms of gore, but...
In terms of concept, yeah, it's like Ratatouille, but it's, you know, Itchy's controlling Scratchy. Sure, why not?
Yeah, but like sous videing the intestines and fucking...
Blending up his eyeballs, yeah.
And only to make them into scoops.
Yep.
I don't know what they were meant to be, but my note wrote, ice cream.
Okay, I accept it. There's a really terrible line right at the end where they're like, Marge and Lisa reconcile, and Lisa goes, happy Mother's Day, and Bart and Homer go, Mother's Day! Like,
Fuck. Why?
Because they just had to, you know, blow the kneecaps off their own sentimental moment for some fucking reason. And my last bit is, okay, so Lisa's met up with what's her name, and she's like, oh, Lisa, I do actually like being friends with you, but I got to tell you, I'm not actually a vegetarian. Have you ever had horse meat? Because I have it in Japan. And then Lisa's just gone and saying, so this is why you're alone, Lisa. You're a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, strong ethics and everything, but in certain parts of the world, horse is an acceptable meat to eat.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got a friend, Lisa. You take the good with the bad.
You know what? They said it years ago. You do not make friends with salad.
No, it would have been kind of funny as well if Lisa was like, you'll do. Like, you know, like,
Was like, has a horrified look and go, yeah, sure.
yeah, like that bit in the Treehouse of Horror when like Homer's transported to the parallel universe where
Comes back and everyone's got like lizard tongues.
yeah, and it's like close enough.
Oh, punch up the joke. Lisa's like, so, what else do you like? Do you like ponies? Boom.
Yeah, at least then, you know, lean into her love of horses and why she would be so horrified at it. But just like, no, one thing wrong with you, bye.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Michael? Any other notes?
Oh, I liked that joke actually when the special guest was kissing Homer on the cheeks and he was just like, you know, I have more cheeks.
Because Marge's like, be charming. Like,
yeah. I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was the best he could. You know, that was pretty smooth, though.
Also, I actually liked the joke about Abe paying off Lenny and Carl to be Homer's friends. I thought when I saw
bizarre.
it, I was like, that would be so fucked up if they stuck to that.
But then
And
they bailed out of it.
yeah, they bailed out of it. I mean, yeah, it's probably fair that they bailed out of it, but it was good.
Yeah, it was
at
good while it
first.
lasted.
Yeah,
It's so weird though, like, because Simpsons like often do this where they like rewrite the history so you find out that the adults actually always knew each other when they were that young and all that stuff. And like, it felt like they were going for another one of this, and then for Abe to undercut it. I wouldn't pay 10 cents to feed you to a lion or something.
Yeah, I think a better joke was, would that have been true? Oh, if it makes you feel any better, my checks have been bouncing for years.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
Any other notes?
the only other thing I had was that like the shock that Marge was paying to me was actually caught me off guard. I don't know if I was just maybe like because the standards had dropped so much in this episode that I was just excited to see something different.
Yeah.
But I thought that was actually handled well and I didn't see it coming. So that was good.
Okay, time for my final notes. Final notes and the final notes and the final notes.
Final notes.
Sorry, I had a lot of notes actually on the Itchy and Scratchy bit. Not only he fed Scratchy to other cats, and there were corpses of other cats in the call room.
Yeah.
That was fucking
The
brutal.
Dark episode.
Mom, turn down the blender. I can't hear the cat puke. Fucking hell.
Yeah, when they started puking, I was like, fuck,
Yeah,
man.
the restaurant's filling up, and it's like,
Yeah, like this sketch went too far, but I really loved it. I gotta say.
you monster.
I am. And I also love the joke after Marge overblends and Homer's like, ooh, can I lick the ceiling? You know.
Yeah.
As a kid, you always want to lick the beaters and the ceiling. Imagine. I've got the note ear poison. Why do I have ear poison?
It was the name of the Bullies band.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought that was going to go somewhere, and it didn't.
It did not. Yeah, it was a bit sad. I like the idea.
Yeah, because that was like during this whole big street fair or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had no real purpose except for
To be
setting
fair,
up
yeah,
Marge's
it
meeting.
was the first thing established. This episode opens on a sign that says "Block Party"
Oh,
on
that's
the
right.
fridge.
And that's why Marge is getting the store-bought
Yeah.
cake, yeah. John Oliver's character's name was Booth Wilk John.
Right.
Oh, I was going to say that before. Yeah.
Yeah. And his wife was named Wallace. And what was with her extended joke where she was like, meth, quickly, meth, quirky, what?
Oh, where she's like, and now she's become melancholic, and it was a
Very, very odd.
and it held on it for a long time too.
Again, as a lover of puns, I love when Marge is like, oh, now we're ostracized. And Homer's like, don't you dare say ostracize. I was like, oh, that was awesome.
I did like that.
And now it makes me want to sing ostracize. I feel the magic between you and I.
I want some
Ostrich
taquitos.
eyes.
Milhouse was in there for an unnecessary second as well.
Yep.
Again, just parts you can fucking cut and save time for other places.
You said that. I would cut that whole block party thing as well.
There's a lot you could cut from this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, your idea before of just starting out there going to a party, you know.
All right, so Milhouse is cut. Wendell is cut. That entire party scene is cut. I mean, cut. You're cut too, Shushy.
Bart's doing the whole trading the envelope for $5 and giving a good bit of advice.
That was pretty good.
That was excellent. Yeah, what's the advice? Don't open the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And my last note is that there was some good booger animation when Marge was crying. She was like sucking up a couple of boogies there, and I quite appreciate that. Realistic crying.
You're a sucker for boogie animations.
And I'm a boogie sucker. It's time to rank this thing! On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. But if the episode's just meh, you give it participant. But for the good rankings, you got okay, bronze, good, silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. Now let me go first. I'm going to show you how it's done. Look, I'm pretty close to a failure, but there's a lot of me going that there is actually a good episode in this, and like it's not the episode that it is, and I mean I keep rewriting better episodes in my head, but as an experience watching it, it didn't feel very faily to me. I'm just giving it a big old flat old participant. BT, what do you reckon?
I know what you mean. It is gripping for life on the edge of the pit, and it's the question: do I help it up or do I stamp on its fingers? Because I'd say 2/3 of this a failure, and the very end is it just becomes redeemable. That said, it's less energy to step on fingers than it is to help someone up, so fail.
All
Like,
right.
just because there's a better episode hidden in there makes it worse to me, not better.
Fair enough.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I'm going to give it a big old fucking failure. Could have had something special on your hands there, but yeah, they fucked it up, so give
Yeah.
it a big failure.
Yeah, like I said, because I can think of a better episode, it does not make it a better episode, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying
No, I don't know. I
the
get it.
experience.
Yeah. No, like I said, I was close to it as well. I think just by the point that it started to get okay-ish, I was so bored I didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I can think of a better episode than
Yeah.
television writers that are doing it for a
People
living,
getting paid for this shit.
yeah, then I'm like, yeah, this has got to be a failure.
Yeah. And in 40 minutes of workshopping this,
Yeah.
you know, what could have we done with like a full evening, you know?
Could have done 5 episodes.
What could we have done with a paycheck? Imagine.
All right, this will be a shiny failure, and we don't have that many shiny failures, but it'll be joining the ranks of Mathlete's Feet, where Lisa gets all into the Waldorf schooling system. Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore, the very offensive episode where Homer goes to India. You know, problem with our poo ground zero shit right there. The Fight Before Christmas. Fuck, what was that? Oh, that was the vignettes one, which ended with Mo performing cunnilingus on Katy Perry.
God damn
Wait,
it.
what?
A live action Katy Perry. Let's not
Yep.
forget. And they were puppet. Fuck, that one was
Puppet
terrible.
Mo goes down on Katy Perry.
I gotta see this shit.
You kind of do. It's that I think we actually wanted to create a new rank for it, which was cubic failure.
Yeah.
Where it's so horrible, it's amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bizarre because, like, the parody is kind of on point. They're doing like a full Muppets Do Christmas
Yeah.
thing, but
So all
the
the Simpson
Simpsons.
characters are now like Muppet puppets.
Oh, okay.
But Katy Perry is live action, and her dress has the Simpsons face on it, and you're immediately like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, there's just so much bad about it.
Oh man.
All right, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
Let's see. Dennis Perkins of the AV Club.
Aha, old mate Dennis Perko.
Yeah, the wild card himself. He gave the episode a B,
Fuck
Damn
off.
it, Dennis.
which is like bronze, maybe bordering on silver, saying, with some tinkering, PayPal could have been something special. The central story about Marge desperately trying to ensure that Lisa doesn't grow up without friends is the sort of family-centered plot that often produces the best Simpsons episodes. Some good gags and a few affecting moments, and the Marge-Lisa relationship remains a fruitful one. It's just that, like so many episodes this season, PayPal front-loads too much, establishing plot, forcing the emotional core of the story into the mad rush before the final credits.
That's why you give it a bad review, Dennis.
Yeah, this is another one where we're like, your score is at odds with your review.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird because the AV Club are particularly harsh.
Oh, really?
Sounds like you gave it a good review based on the potential of what it could
Yeah.
have been rather than what it actually was.
Yeah. It's-
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a participant on potential. Like, I felt I was being generous, you know?
yeah.
He gave it a fucking silver. Like,
As far as failures go, yeah, it's not a full failure, but it's just failure enough.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, that'll about do it for the HD era. Now we're going all the way back to the teens now, where
What do we got, Tio?
it's Home Away from Homer. And I don't know what you guys know about this episode, but I just can't wait to fucking show you this one. It's a doozy.
I feel like I already hate you.
Does it have cunnilingus?
Oh, yeah.
It actually has webcam girls in it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Well, what are we waiting for?
I get to watch Chem Girls twice in one day.
Spoiled.
And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 16, Episode 20, Home Away from Homer. First released in May of '05, it was directed by Bob Anderson, written by Joel H. Cohen. In this episode, Flanders lets in some tenants who turn out to be cam girls, and after finding out the whole town knew before he did and they were all laughing behind his back, he decides to move his boys out to Humbleton, PA, where he is in a town where he is the bad boy. And meanwhile, back at home, Homer's got a new neighbor that's like Biff Tannen, basically. Guys, what did you think?
You were preparing me mentally for something so much more bizarre.
It isn't?
It's odd.
The Chem Girls part, yes, but like the rest of it's pretty stock standard.
Yeah, from what you were going on about, I thought he would find out about the cam girls and be okay with it, then mildly participate, then realize, who have I become?
He kind of did when he was like shaking his head with the milk in his moustache.
I know. I did love that slow motion mustache. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's in a Whitesnake video.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's bizarre in the sense that this isn't what we expect from The Simpsons, right?
No, but I mean, you run through so many plot lines.
Yeah.
It took like a brilliant twist to get to a more formulaic sort of episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I quite enjoyed that twist. I think that
I
it
did
was
too.
an unconventional way to get Flanders to move out of town, but hell, it worked, and I was entertained.
Yeah,
So.
if the last episode was a turd sandwich, this was like a regular sandwich, but with some mustard.
Yeah.
Like
That
some
was a
mustard, you're like,
step
ooh,
above.
what was that?
It was a bit of a palate cleanser, I'll
Yeah.
admit.
Absolutely.
Because, I will say, while the story sort of throws me for a loop, the jokes were pretty solid.
Yeah, I had a great time with this episode.
So how about starting with you, Michael? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I thought the whole thing of like the Simpsons need Maggie to be babysat, so then Homer just pops out of nowhere in Ned's bathroom
Yeah.
while he's taking a bath, and it's just like, hey, can you babysit my kid? And then Ned popping out and he's wearing boxers
Yeah.
in the bathtub. I was like, that's perfect. That's totally
So
something
he
would do.
can't see his own shrinky dink.
Hey, he's a never nude, and there are dozens of them. Dozens.
Oh my god, and Jason Bateman was in this episode. How weird.
I did love that.
Yeah.
You got chop-chopped, bro.
How am I going to get home?
Chop-chopped!
So may as well rip that band-aid off. The one guest star for this episode, Jason Bateman. Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, it's just been, what happened?
But especially in this era, 2005, this
Yeah.
is very much, MTV's Punk'd is
Yeah,
riding high at the
and
moment.
friggin' reality TV is everything. It's all what random shit we throw in next. Yeah, it felt very, even now, still relevant, and yeah, it worked quite well.
It's
Yeah.
funny. It's like, the previous episode we watched had the Toppery Wars, and then this
Yeah.
one has Punk'd. And like the Toppery one, like we watched it and we were like, it's missing something. Whereas this was so
Yeah.
short, succinct, but hilarious.
I actually remembered the joke from that last one right after we stopped recording, which was your topiary of the Taj Mahal is so bad, like we're sending it down the Ganges or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah, whereas this was way funnier.
Yeah.
And it was so simple.
The overly like bro dude host who's like, yeah, you got Chop Shop. The show we just take celebrities' cars and just tear them apart for spare parts. Yeah.
And it was great, like the little fade as well between, we just wrecked your Bentley, bro. How about you, BT? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I'm going to go the whole Ned being the black sheep in this new town.
Yeah.
Because he's keeping his mustache. That was like the whole montage around it was ridiculous, but a lot of fun, and just how overly sugary sweet this town was. Because I thought the whole thing was going to be he's going to go to this town because they're famous for making the humble figurines, and they was going to get there and know it's just going to be a normal town. It was going to be a lesson on, look, nowhere is perfect, so you may as well go where you're happy, or even have a Simpsons counterpoint where nowhere's perfect, just go where they already know you.
Yeah.
But no, they went to this place. It was the idyllic, perfect place, and he didn't like it. He didn't fit in. I like that. It was a funny bit. It went somewhere I didn't expect. And yeah, Ned is the bad boy. Come on.
Yeah, and it just led to so many weird things, like especially all the different names for mustache that they had: Nose Neighbor and Hippie Lip. What did Flanders call it? Dr.
Fuzzy or something.
Dr. Fuzzenstein.
Fuzzenstein.
Something like that.
Fuzzy. It's actually Fuzzenstein's monster.
Ooh, people get that wrong.
Oh yeah, and giving the Marilyn Monroe the great thing. That was very, very odd that they decided to include that in there.
Odd, but I think at this point I was just having a good enough time. So like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
let's
but-
go for it.
Yeah, with the moustache flying up, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And like, yeah, when the moustache tickles the nose, that's the real 7-year itch.
And I do, ooh. And I really like the bit. What finally breaks him is when the red flag on his mailbox is like halfway, and the whole town's like, "Is there mail in there or not?" I'm freaking out.
That was I hated that bit.
Oh, really?
Discourse.
Yes.
Take that.
Let's take this to the field of honor and decide who wins in a duel.
Doodaloo. I warn you, I've been playing a lot of Cowboy Simulator lately.
And I've been
so-
listening to a lot of Hamilton. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10 paces, fire! Stay alive. Anyway, but a different musical moment. So that whole Flanders montage thing was set to the Bad Company song, Bad Company, on their album, Bad Company. Woo! We have another band album song hat trick. Joining the
Nice.
likes of Black Sabbath and Grand Funk Railroad.
And Iron Maiden.
Oh, Iron Maiden did that too?
Iron Maiden have a song called Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it's on the album Iron Maiden, to be fair.
You're right, BT. The song Iron Maiden by the band Iron Maiden is on the album Iron Maiden.
Well, yeah, that's something that we're keeping an eye out for because it's a new thing that I've discovered I like.
Yeah, it's weird, but I like it.
Yeah. And I'm going to say the moment from the episode that stands out to me is, the whole Cam Girls thing. The weird thing is, I think maybe I sold this episode differently because I remember this being a bit more egregious than it actually was. Like,
they keep it very PG.
Yeah. They say themselves they're doing softcore stuff. They're not.
Yeah, the most sexual thing you see, which is also pretty funny, one's spanking the other with a photo of Rod.
That I laugh, but I know it's in poor taste, but I laugh.
I think I got the shock laugh in that one.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to go to someone's house and cam without their knowledge, but to use their photo of their loved one as a spanking implement, maybe a step too far. I got the shock laugh in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that they were doing this whole softcore thing, and it was just mostly them having pillow fights or paint fights with each other. There was the scene where like Flanders comes knocking at the door, and they just like quickly put on their robes and the what do you call them? The hats, mortarboards, big glasses, and one of them's just reading a giant book that says "book" on the front.
I want one of those so much. Book the book.
By book.
Yeah. Woo, another 3.
Yeah. Book the book by words.
In the book series. I like how they sort of become local celebrities, but then I'm sort of disappointed that nothing comes from it.
Yeah, again, it felt like it was going to take a different turn there. Like Flanders was going to see how popular they were, so maybe he was going to keep them around because he needed the money, and it conflicted with his morals, but I don't know, something to be had there. But yeah, they were all just there to say, Homer was the one who told us all about this. You should be angry at him.
Yeah, this isn't like the previous episode where like we're dying for the episode to have gone all these different routes. Here, it's just kind of like, it could have went another. It could have went left, but right was still really fun.
Yeah, I will say this episode, if nothing else, was fun. But play count, how many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
I feel like once. I'm going to say once.
I think 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I've seen this a handful. Like, I don't tend to go back to season 16 a lot. It's not a good season. Like, you can see on the simpsonsindex.com in the spreadsheet section that from season 15 to 16, there is a serious nosedive there in the quality of the episodes.
What's that website again?
The simpsonsindex.com.
Aha, I see. You sure it's not .Kama Sutra?
Boo.
Hey, that was Flanders, not me.
That was Apu, actually.
Oh, yeah, it was too. Well, whatever.
But how about some of the wacky moments of this episode? What are the cartoony moments that stood out to you guys?
I did like the whole independent film cinema. That was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, that just happened
I know.
in this
I completely
episode.
forgot this happened as well until I saw the note, Oppenheimer's elevator. And I was like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah, there were a few good sight gag jokes in that, but for no reason at all, Bart picks up a magazine about gay pride and goes, Mum, am I a femme or a butch?
Yeah,
What?
that was weird.
Why?
I kind of liked it because Marge wasn't paying attention to him. It's like, you can be whatever you want. He was just so happy.
Well, I mean, Bart, you do you. And I really didn't remember that the whole film festival happened in this episode.
Well, it exists pretty much so Ned looks after Maggie and then, it's from there.
Yeah, but also provides a great opportunity for some funny jokes because I fucking hate foreign films and I always get roped into seeing them because my girlfriend loves going to the Sydney Film Festival.
Yep.
And, there was one about a fucking train and it was just the train going from one spot to the next and I'm like, why the fuck is this a movie?
Like, don't you understand? It's about the spread of communism, what it does to the proletariat.
It's about human nature, man. And I'm like, it's a fucking train and like there's no story and I fucking hate that shit. So
was that one of those slow TV sort of things?
Yeah. So when I was watching this, I saw like a lot of comparisons to actual foreign films that I've watched that sucked. Like the whole thing of how, it was just 2 dudes walking, talking.
And one's just like, I'm dying, and the other's like, and for that, I envy you.
And then the goat just being like, I am older than time. And I was like, that's pretty spot on.
That's foreign language films for you.
Well, I think we'll just sort of clarify by saying like independent sort of films.
Yeah, I think independent is fair enough.
Yeah, because these are these sort of like fucking experimental, weird-ass things and
that don't have stories.
That don't have stories.
Most of the time.
The goat represents man's inhumanity to man. God, it's so simple.
Other wacky moments. I was a bit mixed on Ned's trials of the other potential tenants. Like the Nelson one was just super awkward and just more piling on Nelson's mum bullshit.
That was a crazy cat lady.
Crazy cat lady was good.
That was good.
Like all gibberish, but then, do you have any pets? And then she's like
throwing cats.
But the way her face changed is like excited. Is like, oh, this is a sure thing. I'm just going to start petting cats.
I like that because it's always like whenever you see like, when do the cats come in?
Yeah.
How are they going to do this?
Yeah, it is kind of Little Brittany like that as well. Like you're just waiting for.
Do not besmirch this good podcast with the name Little Britain.
I'm just pointing it out. It's like The Simpsons sort of did this with their characters in the teen years. It was like they were there to serve their one punchline, and it's what ended up sucking about Cletus. And when we end up producing our own documentary, The Problem with Skinner.
Oh, it's coming.
We'll get into that.
So not wacky impossible, just wacky strange. Marge is crocheting, needle pointing a sign that says "Don't leave chicken bones on the floor," and that was really funny. I think we all got a laugh out of that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get one of those stitchings made up for me on Etsy or something.
Yeah. I also want Lisa's jazz poster as well. It's very iconic.
Oh yeah.
When was this made again?
2005.
I love that even back then there were jokes about Jimmy Fallon sucking.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? And if you say Jimmy Fallon, I'll know you're lying.
Was he even doing the Tonight Show then?
No, he wasn't. He was just on SNL, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's because there was that Family Guy episode where like they hinged like a third act on him sucking, and that being the point of it.
Yeah, because he would laugh at every skit he was in.
And he would look at the camera
Yeah.
and like a lot of really rookie errors. I think he's done a lot better recently, but yeah.
Not crazy about Jimmy Fallon.
So yeah, his late show run started in 2009. Yeah, neither am I. I mean, I'm not crazy about any of those late night guys, but especially not him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Kind of reminds me, why was Jimmy Fallon in Jurassic World? I don't know why I just thought of that.
Yeah, he was. He
It was
like
really weird.
Yeah, a lot of things were wrong with Jurassic World. You want a deep dive on that? That's
he was in the ball.
Yeah, he was like welcome to the ball. This is how the ball operates. I'm Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, to be fair, if I was writing that script, I'd write a Jimmy Fallon type would lead this. Yeah. Yeah, that is a bad... Did either of you see Fallen Kingdom?
I still really want to. It looks awful.
I haven't, because I fucking hated Jurassic World.
Yeah.
As you said, we're in the cinema. Yeah, unintentional comedy of the year.
Yeah. Oh. That moment when the fucking ocean dinosaur like comes up and eats the fucking Plotosaurus Rex. Fucking hell. That was excellent.
Plotosaurus Rex?
The Indominus Rex.
What?
Indominus Rex.
The
I-Rex.
Oh, wait. Are we talking about Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom?
Jurassic World. I haven't seen Fallen Kingdom.
Okay.
But yeah, that scene at the end where, Baloo the Velociraptor and fucking T-Rex decide to team up against,
They high-five.
Yeah, the T-Rex and the Raptors just pretty much, high-five each other like...
Subtitles. You got this, bro. Yeah, we got this.
Oh, we got this. It's rap time.
Chris Pratt's like, didn't we tell you guys T-Rexes and Raptors can actually communicate?
Even though we
And
made
humans.
a point of it earlier in the movie to say this thing's never been with other dinosaurs and doesn't know how to communicate, but it actually has the DNA of part of a raptor, so of course naturally it knows the language somehow and even though it had it.
And Bryce Dallas Howard runs away from a T-Rex in high heels, but whatever.
Yeah.
On muddy ground.
Fuck.
I just, sorry, you brought back so many memories of that movie now. Just a bit where Chris Pratt's all like, look, you can't run around in the jungle in high heels, so she takes her top off and ties it around her waist. It's like, that doesn't fix the problem. The problem was your footwear.
I love that whenever I mention that fucking movie, it leads into a whole tangent of everyone being like, that movie sucks because of this. That movie sucks because of this and this and this and
There's
that.
a lot you can deconstruct on it, but just those little bit-by-bit points that are just like, what?
Remember them making out while all those people were dying around them?
Yeah, or at the end, they're all like, it's such a happy ending. And they're like, you were running this park. You have so many lawsuits against you soon.
Yeah.
You should be going to prison.
The gross negligence you displayed during this entire crisis that resulted in many deaths.
Your sister does not need to speak to you again.
Yeah, you are going to prison for a long time.
But that's okay, because in Fallen Kingdom, doesn't she come up with a, dinosaur retreat fucking program?
I don't know. I was lukewarm on it, and then they showed that clip where one of the dinosaurs is like stalking around a mansion like a serial killer. I'm like, this looks awful now. I want to see it.
All right, but bringing it back to The Simpsons. So how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
Almost, I suppose. There's a nice little bit where Homer like drives out to find Ned and he's all disheveled and his shirt's a little bit messed up. It's like, oh, I was just driving around the Midwest, knocking on random doors saying, oh my God, I miss you, come home.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, because I'd sort of forgotten how this episode ended as well. And like when Homer and Flanders come back and Biff Tannen doesn't really, he had a different name. It's just, he looks exactly like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, right? It's like, oh, how are they going to get out of this one? And I like how like Ned is like, had secret Israeli army training or something. He just fucking takes him down just by squeezing that douchebag's knuckles. Like, it's like, yeah, Ned, you badass.
Yeah, and even then he's like, oh, maybe you could think about moving. The guy's like, no, I ain't going to move. He's like, well, your check never cleared, so technically I do still own this house.
Yeah.
It was a good way. It was good to give him legal recourse as well. And then, yeah, because Ned is a badass quietly.
Yeah.
When he's in the bath early on, he's ripped to hell.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, it is an interesting parallel that, yeah, this big, hulking, like, aggressive guy who, like, anyone would think that's what Homer is to Flanders. And I think that's kind of a clever way that this episode went. But also the, coach guy was pretty annoying. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, he had a lot of funny lines, though.
Yeah?
Like, I just found it hilarious when Homer went up to him and was like, hey, can you shut the music down because my baby's asleep?
Yeah.
And he was just like, well, I'm sorry, man, but my twins are just waking up.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Now shout encouragement.
See, that's the bit that I found egregiously terrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, not too much heart in this episode. I kind of like that there was the whole, Homer needs Flanders sort of thing reinforced.
And it wasn't quite well executed, but I do like the end where he's like, damn, Flanders getting on my nerves now. He's like, mind if I do some wagging? Yeah, wags his finger at them. And it wasn't the right tone, but I do like the joke of, okay, it's now he's annoying Homer again, and we're back to zero.
Yeah. And, stealing the church organ, fine enough. And so he could play... fucking, what was it again?
oh, Freeze Frame by Jay Giles Band.
Yeah, which only just that is a Jay Giles song.
Yeah. Freeze Frame.
Yeah, I thought I only knew one. It's sort of weird because, like, I know The Simpsons have used it again in that episode where Homer's the part of the paparazzi, and that's when freeze frame is always used in some sort of, like...
Photography.
Yeah, photography montage. But not in this one for whatever reason. So ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Went some strange places, but nothing. Characters still acted like themselves.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't think the show felt like The Simpsons.
Not terribly. I give them a bit of leeway for just running for so long. You've got to do something. At least this feels like it was a bit of a shaken formula that, it was something we've done before, but it kind of found a new way to get there.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, at least there was a joke per minute.
Yeah.
I've got, like, a lot of fundamental problems with, like, how the story played out, but it didn't stop me from liking it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I enjoyed the whole episode. I mean, like, there were little nitpicks as far as the story goes, but I overlooked a lot of them because I just kept laughing at all the jokes. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, and as far as integrity goes, it's like, these are how the characters probably would react to these situations.
Yeah, it's just the situations aren't very The Simpsons, but their reactions to it are.
Yeah.
So overall, I think generally when we talk about integrity, I think more about the reactions rather than the plots. Because the plots, they're going to throw some weird things at them.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't any breaking, but there sure was a lot of bending. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yes, absolutely. Because that bobblehead joke with Moses, oh, fuck, that was funny.
That was pretty good.
And it was so stupid. I got to watch it again just for
oh,
that.
Moses, are you a loser? Yes, I am.
That was so good, but, like, just on a structural problem for me, that was, like, came right after Homer's, like, doing, like, extended ragging on Flanders in the Quickie Mart, and he'll never know, and there's this weird zoom up on his face, so you think they're going to do the classic zoom out, Flanders is behind him the whole time, and then it goes straight to that Moses joke, which I loved, but as a fundamental structural problem, it just had too much of a lead in from that other thing.
You did get the establishing church shot where it says Free Bobblehead Moses Day.
Oh, I missed that sign, that gag. That's pretty good then.
Also, so it establishes, it does give you a break between the two, but I know what you mean.
So you'd watch it again too?
Yeah, I had some fun on this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'd watch it again, maybe in a playlist. What playlist are we going to put this one in?
Well, we actually have a current playlist for this episode. We have Lisa listening to the radio because we was in both episodes.
Yeah, and the one that we watched the other day with the NPR references.
Yeah, and also a playlist of being interrupted.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, fuck, what was it? Soggy bread. And Ned goes, don't say it. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Yep, so that's 2 for 2. What will the next episode hold?
Put in a playlist of, like, reality show parodies.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Or just TV parodies like Talk to the Hand.
Yeah.
Touch the stove.
What was my other favorite? It was like Forbidden Island or something, but it's not actually an island.
It's a peninsula.
Yeah. I love that reality show gag. Yeah, totally. Are there many porno-related episodes of The Simpsons?
There's the one with the mafia make a snuggle film in the Simpsons house.
Oh, that one's awful.
I can't remember what happens in the rest of that episode.
Oh, that's Bonfire of the Manatees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it's a playlist. Never said it was a good one.
Yeah, I think that's good. So, BT, what would you change?
Not terribly much. I don't think there's anything hugely wrong. You could definitely take in a few different directions. I think, like, if you're going to throw in that cam girl bit, fucking run with it. So maybe have Ned come out, the whole town's there, and maybe have him conflict with the idea that he needs the money, but he doesn't agree with what they're doing, but he kind of bends the rules. But then I don't know where you go from that. But it'd be an avenue to explore. And then I think change that neighbor character just a little bit. I think maybe make it so the neighbor is to Homer what Homer was to Flanders. A bit more have him borrow stuff and never give it back. But instead of, Flanders just being such a pushover, Homer is asking for it at the back, but the guy's just such a jock, he's not going to do it. Like, whatever, Poindexter, I'll bring it back when I'm done.
Yeah.
Just for that parallel. And I think to make Homer miss Flanders a bit more, because the way the coach is at the moment, he could just not go over there. He could just ignore him for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few bits, maybe could explore some different avenues, but I'm pretty okay with it as it is. Like you said, there was about a joke a minute, and I did get quite a few laughs out of this one.
How about you, Michael? Is there anything you'd like to change?
Yeah, I guess just change the neighbor character. So, like, he's doing more shit that's, like, make him more annoying in the sense that he's doing things that are affecting them even while they're at home. Like having the music playing loud was good.
Yeah.
But, like, maybe if he had parties and shit and loud music all the time or something like that. I like the idea of having him act like how Homer acted towards Flanders, because then when Homer comes to Flanders and tells him to come back, he can be like, I'm really sorry for how bad I've treated you. Now I've realized that. I feel like maybe if you had the whole thing with the cam girls happen a bit quicker, that way it wouldn't seem so much of a jump when Ned moves to that other town. It seems a bit like straight away he moves. Like, if the cam girls thing happens a bit quicker and then you get that neighbor living there for a bit longer, I feel like then it would make more of an impact for when Homer comes to Ned. And there's more of that like desperation for him to come back.
Yeah, trim a little bit out of that independent cinema place, and then
trim a little bit from there, a little bit from the cam girls, because it felt like you were kind of seeing the same thing over and over.
Joke,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially with, like, once Bart had discovered that, and that they kind of do the window joke twice as well.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's fine, and it's a fair enough way to reveal it, but also, like, they wouldn't have still had the tab open if, like, Marge was in the room.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Mum walks in, you immediately close the tab and open up the Word, and like, oh, here's what I wanted, typing for homework.
No, you have the decoy tab already open underneath, and you have it scrolled halfway down the article, so it made you look like,
You've done this
We've
before.
all been there before. We know what
I
to
grew
do.
up in the early aughts, man. We had to share our computers back then. None of this porno on the phone business.
I know, kids, they just don't understand.
And yeah, I'm going to say my adjustments are pretty much echoing you guys. Yeah. Change the coach character a bit, like, because they kind of do this like egregious tough guy. And I guess that's like the times that I hate bombardment guy is.
Bombardment.
Yeah. When it's just, I'm yelling and that's part of the joke. And yeah, cut time away from the film festival. And yeah, also because we had the fully extended intro this time as well. There was definitely more time to give to these moments that needed a bit more weight. Yeah, I feel like, there is a bit of unevenness in some of the choices to extend certain scenes and limit others. Yeah. BT, do you have any other notes?
Just a couple. I do like Flanders' plans for the day were to rewind videotapes for the poor, which really raises more questions than it answers.
Hey, back in 2005, that was like the year that I know that I VHS taped the last episode of Simpsons that I VHS taped, so still slightly relevant.
Yeah, but why for the poor?
Well,
if they have
they can't be
VCRs, they can
fucked.
rewind it themselves.
Maybe they had those old shitty VCRs where, like, you had to play around with the tape and get it just right.
Oh, we used to have a VCR that, like, we had it for about 6 months before we replaced it, where you had to stop it from rewinding before the start, otherwise it'd keep going and it'd chew the tape.
Yeah, natch. I do like when Homer gets found out. It's like, no, Flanders, I wanted to tell you, but it was just too funny.
Yeah. Jerk-ass Homer, but excellent delivery.
Yeah, excellent jerk-ass Homer. And also when he comes over to Flanders to apologize and he drops the cookies and he's crying and eating cookies. I kind of laugh out of that. Just that little...
Poor Aunt Hortense. Woohoo. Yeah. How about you, Michael? Any other notes?
I was just thinking, like, if the neighbor that moved into Flanders' house was maybe like a frat party type of guy, and then he ended up having frat parties, and then those two cam girls ended up coming back. That way you wouldn't get rid of them straight away. So
Yeah.
kind of come back to them.
I think that would make sense in the idea that if it was a frat house, Homer would initially really like it, but after a
Yes.
while, it's going to get loud and it's going to be, not his kind of drinking. And yeah, that'd be some way to go with that.
Yeah, as you said, like Homer would enjoy it because he's kind of like living out his youthful fantasy, and he
I'm going to say frat house moves in, Homer goes and parties with them, has a great time, finds out they're actually making fun of him behind his back.
Ah.
And that ties in a Flanders thing.
Nice.
And then he's like, I see what I've done to you, neighbor. Also, they're out of beer. Now come home.
Nice.
There we go. Woo!
I was also going to say, have the frat guy move in, cam girls come back, but then, like, people are watching and it's like, it's just not the same when
If he's not oblivious.
Yeah. Because, you got the frat guy encouraging and it's like, yeah, we don't want to see that.
We need better porno. Bring back Flanders.
Nothing says great porn like a big mustache. Who wants a mustache ride?
On the hippie lip. All right, time for my final notes. So, in that opening NPR section when they have the Peruvian banjo music and they got the critic there, it's just not that good. Pretty good line.
Mm-hmm.
And also I liked the ponytail guy in the cinema. This guy's eating an apple. Would you like a segment? Yeah.
Yes.
But then I hated the Homer getting stuck in the chair joke. Why did I eat the apple thing?
Yeah, I completely forgot that even happened.
But then, following up, I liked Bart's joke. I'm a grad student.
I'm just thinking though, like with him getting stuck in the chair, was there a purpose to that?
No.
Was that to keep him staying
Because
there?
I'm
joke,
leaving,
fat
and it's
joke.
like, yeah, it's a fat joke for the fat jokes. Because he was like, oh, he tried to leave, but he's not leaving without his family. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And another one that I forgot to bring up in the last episode when comic book guy's trying to put on the headphones, but Nut is too fat, so of course they break.
head fat is the hardest to lose. Shame on you, Simpsons.
They say
writers.
it comes off your tongue first, but nowhere else on your head.
Yeah.
That ear fat gonna stay with you for life.
Yeah, Charlie Brown's biggest struggle.
Yeah, the grad student, it's not their fault they made a terrible life choice. What should we ask Jeeves?
Ask him why he sucks. Yeah, I think we all did that.
Yeah. Like, the funny thing is, when, like, I first got to high school, like, for the first year, our, like, default browser was Ask Jeeves.
Yep.
Then it was Alta Vista.
Wow. Hey, this is how you can tell someone's old if they remember when Google was underground.
Yeah.
It was like, I know you know Yahoo, but check this out. It's called Google. It's pretty good.
Oh, Yahoo was a thing. And it's
Yeah.
still trying to be a thing. God love them. We see another appearance from Starving Teachers Moving Company.
Oh, yeah.
And we get a weird sequence where Bart and Santa's little helper are having a dogfight.
Yeah.
Yeah, very weird. Oh, the song that was playing when he was waking up the twins was Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys.
I wonder if he knows it's parody. I don't think he does.
No, that song haunted them throughout their entire career.
Poor bastards.
Yeah. Fuck, I was listening to Hello Nasty again the other week. God, that's a fucking excellent album.
What's that other album they made?
License to Ill, Paul's Boutique.
Yeah, Paul's Boutique. That's a fucking mad album.
Yeah, so revolutionary in sampling and all that. Like, yeah. And I also love To the Five Boroughs. Oh, and the mix-up's good too. Who would have thought the Beastie Boys could pull off an instrumental album? Anyway, talk about Beasties for ages. So when the Humble Dolls guy goes to ask Flanders to shave off the mustache, he does those, like, eyes that are, like,
Yeah, I do like that.
ultra Disney, like, they're shaped like the pupil is like Pac-Man.
Yeah, a little pie slice taken out of it.
Yeah.
It's like Puss in Boots from Shrek
Yeah.
2.
Bully.
Yeah.
He even does, like, the little holding thing with the...
Yeah.
Flanders, like, made the front page of the paper, though, and the headline was Hair Furor.
Bit harsh, but hey.
Fucking whoa.
Shots fired.
And yeah, that'll do it for my notes. It is time to rank this thing, and it's BT's turn to kick it off.
Man, I'm right on the Brilver border because I don't think it's quite good enough for silver, but I think it's better than a bronze. Ooh, it's a tough one. Right on the Brilvers. I'm going to go with my gut, which is going to go to bronze. I'm surprised about that, but I'm also surprised I just had a vocal pop, but you know, whatever.
Do you want to take it again, or?
No, I'll live with it. This is my voice. This is my life. Deal with it. I'm going to go with the bronze because while I enjoyed it enough at the time, I think maybe there's not quite enough going on plot-wise for me to really push it to the silver. I had some fun, but I feel like I'm not going to have as much fun the second time around. It's a tough call, but I'm going to go bronze. It is a high bronze.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm going to go solid bronze on this one. Very funny, but it just doesn't have the heart bumps that you would want from like a solid Simpsons
it
episode.
Doesn't have that something extra going on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you might have even got a gold on this one.
Because I was laughing so much.
Hey, I mean, yeah. I'm going to say as well, like, I'm going a bronze, and I feel like this is actually one that exists outside our ranking scale we were saying before, because it does feel too bizarre to be a Simpsons, but it's too genuinely enjoyable not to give a decent ranking. And like, while I acknowledge that there's a lot of fundamental problems, I still have a lot of fun with this one. And bronze is an episode that I may revisit. And yeah, I think there's something to this one.
Yeah, I concur.
All right, locking in the rankings. You're not falling back up.
I don't make mistakes.
All right, well, averaging out, this will be a unanimous bronze. This will be joining one other Season 16 episode and tied place for the highest ranking Season 16 episode. She Used to Be My Girl, where Lisa starts hanging out with Marge's friend, who was played by Kim Cattrall. And
is that the Broadway one?
No. They go the fire one, and the volcano erupts, and
I know I've seen.
Is Kim Cattrall, is the character like a journalist?
Yes.
Yep. I know which one you're talking about.
Yes.
And Marge is like envious of her because she, I got you.
Yeah, I think it was another one that was pretty funny. It's just the plot didn't quite gel.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that one was actually, we were all on border of participant. I think we're all on border of silver for this one. So.
Oh man, I could listen to Kim Cattrall's voice for days.
And it'll also be joining other such episodes like The Ice Cream of Margie with Light Blue Hair, when she gets into making popsicle stick art. What are some other unanimous bronzes? The Town, where the Simpsons ship out to Boston.
That was a weird one, but yeah, funny still.
A lot of these sort of outlier episodes, like The Falcon and the Dolman, which, like, isn't an episode of The Simpsons, and it's, like, just Kiefer Sutherland the whole time. Like, that's another weird one. Eeny Tina Maya Mo, where Mo dates a little person. How I Spent My Strummer Vacation, where Homer goes to rock and roll fantasy camp.
Oh, that was a funny episode.
Yeah, it was. The Trouble with Trillions, with Burns and the $1 Trillion Bill. And also Homer the Mo, where Homer becomes the Mo. And REM are the M.
Save the rainforest.
No, Michael, that's not the REM way.
You're right. Let's recycle these glass shards and get out of here. All right, guys, it is time for our classic and final episode of the evening, and we're going right to the tail end of the classic era to watch Season 9's Bart Carny. We'll be back.
Is this the one where Bart becomes a carny?
Yep.
Oh.
Good guess.
I got the deductive reasoning like that Sherlock Holmes fella.
You win the mustache cone.
Yes. Now if only I could grow a mustache.
I want a fake mustache. Want to comment?
And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode for the evening, which was Season 9, Episode 12, Bart Carny. First released in January of '98, this was directed by Mark Kirkland, written by everyone's favourite John Swartzwelder.
Hey.
In this episode, you all know this one. This is the one where Bart and Homer become carnies, and then they accidentally get the carnies ring toss game taken over them, so they invite them in the Simpsons house, but then they get grifted out of their own house until they grift back. Guys, what'd you think?
Well, the beers kicked in.
Hey, pretty good. I used to hate this episode as a kid.
I'm surprised, but
I think I was just frustrated at, the carnies destroying the Simpson house and taking over.
Well,
while, watching it back, I'm like, it's actually really funny.
Well, even like the Wikipedia thing says, this episode received mixed reviews from critics, and I'll give it that it's silly, but I see a lot of John Swartzwelder charm throughout this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of like calling back to previous jokes and, just a solid story throughout, but albeit very silly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, still front-loaded with so many jokes.
Absolutely. So let's get into some of those. BT, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
I think the best pre-laughter I got was at the Screamatorium where they're going through this really crappy haunted house ride.
Yeah, that is a great area of comedy, the shitty haunted house train.
But even just how he ropes them in, he's like, oh, I've only got 2 tickets left. But I was like, oh, wow, we nearly missed out. Come on, Lise. And then just going through it, it's just,
yeah, hearing the tape rewind.
Boing. I think that one's broken. And yeah, it's the one old woman, behold the ravages of age.
Yeah. And all throughout, like, there was a detail that I never noticed before until this watch through, which was, all the shitty ghosts, like, painted on the walls, like, ooh, whatever. And then, like, if you look closely at the background, you can see, like, a bunch of doors and hinges that they've, like, painted over. Like, this is such a shitty haunted house.
Yeah.
We've all been there before.
Yeah. And reminds me also of the South Park one, The Chamber of Farts.
Or the line ride.
Yeah, or the line ride, but the Screamatorium by Dr. Frightmare-Steen, I'd hate to see Dr. Frightmare-Steen's monster.
God damn it. But again, there's a lot of just, the whole carnival is full of great little details. Like in the ring toss game, they've got, hey fella, want your dad to win you a TV? And the TV just has, TV, the appliance everyone is talking about.
Yeah, you can clearly tell that, like, Cooter at least has had this ring toss game since the 60s.
Yeah, or the tooth chipper roller coaster. Like, you can't get on that, you have a heart condition. Since when? Because he's, my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and she makes reference to a previous episode there where you had a quadruple bypass surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's another callback as well when they're in the glass bottom boat and they see little Lisa's animal slurry that's been dropped off. Very good. How about you, Michael? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
The yard work simulator. Perfect. Sums up that shit so perfect because, like, I remember back in the Wii era of video games, like, there'd be games like that as well, and you would play them and be like, this is so fun. And I remember my mum watching me play those types of games and being like, but when I get you to do shit, like, outside, you don't want to do it, like, for real. So it just took me back to that. And it's so perfect.
It's just when I finish the mowing the lawn and the game goes, ba-da-ba-ba.
Yeah, it's so much more rewarding.
Yeah.
No, that's why, like, I'm very curious to play Stardew Valley because, like, it seems like my type of game with that loop and everything, but I just can't because, like, I'll feel like, why aren't I actually farming?
Yeah, I've had that problem. Like, I was playing Papers, Please, which is a very good game and everyone should check it out. Yeah, I got about to, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm playing it, and then someone complains about something like, and I'm like, in my head, I was like, I don't know, lady, this is my job. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, Papers, Please, go check it out.
But yeah, all those things like, Farming Simulator as well is like a ridiculously popular game. And it's just, at what point do you need a sim,
Yeah, the trucking simulators and stuff.
Yeah.
Goat simulator.
Well, that fully embodies the experience of being an actual goat.
Yeah, but like Farm Simulator is up to like number 9 or something. They've made a lot of these.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's one of the best sellers on Switch. It's fucking
really?
Yeah.
My God.
But yeah, that whole opening scene with Bart and Lisa avoiding doing the yard work that, is paid off by that yard sim joke.
I had completely forgotten that's how this episode starts.
Really?
Yeah, and I love lazy Lisa. Like when, Bart, of course, is lounging around, but Lisa's just like, oh, we gave up. Work was no fun, so we didn't do it.
Work hard.
So we quit.
And they're both like, it's allowance day. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And then that last bit where the colonel rolls in like, oh no, we need money now. Marge's like, well. Looks, and Homer just runs in and like, kids, the colonel is here. Ding, 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 ding.
Paid off that joke so perfectly.
Oh, yeah, that's very Schwartzwaldian, and that was hilarious.
Bart and Lisa as well, their faces were like looking towards the ground. They knew they'd miss their opportunity to get as much money as possible. 2
seconds from learning a lesson.
I agree that yard sim bit was excellent. Yeah, what stands out to me? Oh my goodness. I guess I'm just going to say, just because it's in my head, the Carney's actually taking the house as well, which didn't take up as much of the episode as I remembered.
Yeah.
It's weird, it's almost like a second act escalation that, happens at rapid fire pace in the third act.
Yeah, you really think this is going to be a story about them working at the carnival because that's the setup from your first act.
Yeah, so it's a little weird and, like, it does make the third act feel rushed, but it did lead to some pretty good material as well, like Cooter and Spud just thinking they were millionaires now, and you look like James Bond, Dad.
I'm freezing. Throw another photo album in the fire.
And it was sort of weird because, like, it's like they grifted them out of their house, and it was just like because they were grifters. It almost didn't feel like it was revenge for Homer getting their ring toss game taken.
True.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
It was more they saw the opportunity and took it.
Yeah.
But then I felt like burning the photos could have been more about like revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thing for me. Like, as much fun as I had with this episode, I definitely see the flaws. So, play count. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
6 or 7 times, probably.
Yeah?
I'll give you 3 guesses for $5.
All right, give me 10 rings. Yeah, look, I've seen this episode a whole bunch. Maybe 20-ish? I don't know. Definitely VHS taped this one. Definitely watched the DVDs a million times. And yeah, this episode holds a special place in my heart for being the one after the singing clip show.
Ah.
Because when you're watching the DVD, singing clip show is on, and you don't realize it until 2 minutes in. Then you skip,
Yep.
and you're like, there we go. Bart
An actual
Carny.
episode.
That's a bit more like it. So how about some of the wacky moments? All right, let's get to the wacky carnival.
Oh man, just Jesus, so many. I think the first one I want to raise is, okay, Lisa, I want to do yard work. Chop off my hands. No, them who would chop off my hands.
All right, I'll chop off half of my hands, and with remaining strength, I'll do work.
And again, I just love that it makes no sense for Lisa to be doing that, but I like that she's just being a lazy kid, and that's the kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's a lazy Saturday, and she's not spending it listening to the radio this time.
Yeah.
Any other wacky moments?
Santa's little helper won't go and poop outside. So Homer's just like, well, you know, they say dogs will do something if you show them that you do it first. I'm not going to the bathroom outside. All right, princess.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I can't even say it without laughing. Fantastic Dan living in the whack-a-mole.
Did you call me, Spud?
That's such an excellent smash cut.
Yeah.
Highlight and capitalize the word smash.
Oh, yeah. And just a little bit of Simpsons ruined my brain. I used to work with a guy who looked a bit like Fantastic Dan. I never learned his name because he was just Fantastic Dan to me.
Did you say, did you call me, Spud?
Yeah.
I couldn't look him in the eye
Slam.
without thinking to that exact line. Like, I just wanted to give him like flying goggles and
Yeah.
It reminds me of that other joke in The Simpsons when Homer's like, hey, about Lenny. And he's like, you know what, Marge? Tomorrow I'm going to find Lenny and I'm going to punch him
back
right
of the
in the back of the head. And then the next cut, it's just straight away like, poosh.
Yeah, it's a weird thing where they've told you exactly what's going to happen. Fantastic Dan is living in the whack-a-mole. You can put together what the next gag in, but it just happens so damn quickly that
Yeah.
you're also not expecting it.
But just,
Yeah, slam.
it's just done so perfectly.
Yeah, so much around the carnival I love, like when they're doing like that sunrise scene and the sun hits the burger wrapper and it opens like a flower and the rat's running on the
Yeah,
hot dog mill and the hick just hoses them off.
that classic which is Prelude to the Fawn.
Yeah, for such a music lover, anytime there's like a classical music cue, it's like, I don't know, it's the one that's like all fluty.
Yeah, that morning sequence.
Actually, Editing Bay Jordan, why don't you tell us what it is?
Hey, it's Jordan, and this is Morning Mood, the first movement of Edvard Grieg's Peer Gynt Suite No. 1, Opus 46, and now I'm shredded out on my metal rock stick.
This episode like brings up a lot to me as far as like what makes The Simpsons great as far as simplicity with its jokes. Like watching that first episode we watched, we noticed that like every joke is trying way too hard and just goes for so long and overcomplicates things.
Yeah.
Whereas in this episode, like such simple things like the burger wrapper unwrapping. Like
They're taking the cliche, the peaceful morning opening that you've seen in so many like Disney cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
And they just got their own take with the burger wrapper and just that sunlight just cascading over garbage.
And everyone preparing for the carnival, the bearded lady is shaving her legs, got to look her Sunday best.
yeah.
and even like that joke that we were just talking about, the Fantastic Dan in the whack-a-mole, like it's simple stuff, but it's so funny. Like, and I think that's what's been lost in newer Simpsons episodes as far as the way they tell their jokes.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about that as well. They're trying to make all these jokes stand on their own, whereas this one, there's so many callbacks. And even a joke that I didn't like initially where, they'd taken the house and they're in the tree house and Bart's like, well, maybe if we set it on fire. See, I didn't like Bart's line, but then they call back to it like 4 more times and
Marge's
it's
like,
excellent.
no fires. And he's like, well, if we did set it on fire.
Yeah, you're
no
expecting
fire.
Lisa to have a good idea.
And then Homer just like, I've got it. Fire!
It's perfect. Yeah, they're just like misdirecting you the whole time and leaning back to
It's
that
weird.
joke.
They're
and-
misdirecting you by repeating it. Like,
Yeah.
It's really weird. And there's another kind of like an anti-climax joke where you see the talking camel is like, hey, I thought I was your biggest attraction. And then later on, Marge and Lisa come in and goes, we just saw the most amazing camel. It was wearing a hat.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, it's a joke that I hated because, a talking camel, funny. But then that Marge was delighted that it was wearing a hat.
And sorry, just on that morning opening sequence, the words funhouse are all straight and he's like crooked, making them crooked.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun with the carnival here. That is... Look, we're going to talk about wackiness until the cows come home, but is there any heart to be had in this episode?
There's a little, in the sense, Homer's romanticism of the Carny Code, but of course, and having that dashed for him. And I think a little bit maybe of, you can see it as Homer being a sucker or Homer as being a bit of a sweetheart, where he's like, look at him standing outside with nowhere to go and,
Mom, get him away from the window.
can we just let him stay for a couple of nights?
Well, I mean, it's Swartzwelder who said, treat Homer like a Labrador, and that's sort of what he's doing here because he didn't mean to get rid of the ring toss game.
Yeah, he didn't mean any of this to happen. He's still taking a degree of sympathy. He's just, that emotional sympathy is overriding the logic of we just had to kick them out.
Yeah. And I mean, that sequence with Homer not being able to get that this is a bribe. I mean, I love it, even though I know I've seen it too many times. Does it still play for you guys?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I just like the idea that like Homer is dumber than Chief Wiggum.
Yeah.
Like seeing them interact with each other and seeing Wiggum be like straight faced.
Yeah.
The guy I'm looking for is Bill. Have you seen any Bills around here?
Yep. Oh, now I'm remembering another joke from the first episode we watched where Wiggum at the murder mystery night was like, oh, I can't wait to solve a crime.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I should have failed that episode.
It's not too late.
Oh, yeah, no, it's set in stone. It's set in stone.
Yeah, his notebook is actually stone. It's weird. I don't know where he got that.
Moses.
Hey, you were losing? Yes.
But no, so, I mean, you can sort of say there is some heart, maybe, and to do with the
Well,
Simpsons.
sentimentality,
Yeah.
I think, rather than strictly heart.
But ultimately, though, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely this, like, late classic, early teen sort of...
Yeah. It's an interesting direction to take what is effectively a Homer job episode,
Oh, yeah.
where he gets a new job, but it goes somewhere completely different. I do appreciate it for that.
But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yeah, I'd watch it again just for that just to see Fantastic Dan.
I'll make that a GIF. To be sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll watch it again. Put it in a playlist. What playlist does this go in?
I mean, you could Homer jobs, but
Yeah.
it's a little simplistic. Shark taunting? Do they do that again? You call yourself the king of the jungle.
Oh, that's so dumb. Yeah. And yeah, to think that there was an equally oafish person who caused the Athena to drown as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to think if there are any, like, Simpsons at the Carnival sort of things.
Maybe, but chores, like the one where Bart wins an elephant because they're cleaning the whole house.
Oh, yeah. Simpsons doing housework, yeah.
Kind of funny now that I think about it, like, if you went on a ferry and the tour included, by the way, look at this ferry that crashed last week. Like, the more you like think about that in real life, if that happened, it just sounds so stupid.
Well, you have a choice. You either go to great expense to pull that ferry out of the water, or you just make it part of the tour.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for joining Malaysian Airlines flight. Now, if you look on the right side of the window, oh my God, we found it, guys. May have to remove this joke.
Now, all first-class passengers get to find out what happened to that flight.
As we join them.
Oh, jeez. I think this is a rich Texan playlist.
Yeah, true.
Actually, this is like a Homer and Bart episode as well. Like they're very close throughout. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, sure.
No, definitely Homer and Bart shenanigans.
Yeah, put in with the trucking episode where they.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and the Lord of the Dance where they're doing the grease grifting. And that episode where they're grifting.
Retirement grease. No.
Oh, that shot of Homer with his eye sucked out still haunts me. I love it.
Yeah.
So, BT, what would you change?
I don't know if I'd change. It would be more of an interest of what could the alternatives to this be. So maybe what if we did just stick with Homer and Bart at the carnival? What kind of plot lines could we get out of that? I don't think I want to change it because I do just in conversation now, I do appreciate this is effectively a Homer Jobs episode that turns into something completely different. I do quite like that. But yeah, just out of curiosity, get a writer's room together, throw around some other ideas. Where could we go?
Yeah, Steph, how about you, Michael?
I would make the whole episode about Fantastic Dan. Because
The story of Fantastic Dan.
I'd just make it a spin-off episode about how Fantastic Dan came to be living in the whack-a-mole.
Oh, yeah. Is Fantastic Dan the same character model as the guy who's doing the skywriting for Manjula?
It's the Skywriter's Code.
Yeah.
I am so sick of that code.
I love that line. Is that Fantastic Dan?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's even called Fantastic Dan Skywriting.
Yeah, I'm going to double check on Frankie. But I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So yeah, how do we go from him being Springfield's #1 skywriter to him living in a whack-a-mole? There is a story.
He clearly got fired because of the shit show that Homer, sabotaging the
Man, call
Skywriter.
Martin Scorsese. There is an epic there.
There we go. Yeah, on the side of his plate, it says Fantastic Dan and everything.
Called it. Yeah, come on. There's an epic to be learned.
Yep, and his business is Skywriting by Dan. Ooh, maybe Fantastic Dan is just the name of the plane. Wait, no. This isn't a Frankenstein, Frightmare Steen's monster situation. I'm getting a lot of mileage out of that joke tonight. What I would change. Yeah, look, I pointed out that I thought it was interesting that the third act sort of seems to have its own second and third act story within it, but I don't think it's at conflict with the rest of the episode. Like I said, I feel like there is an absence of revenge on the part of the Carnies, because I think you can sort of play that, the Carnies thought it was a bit more malicious on Homer's part, having them lost the ring toss game, especially after they could have viewed it as Homer getting them back. But
he was trying to bribe the cop, but the opportunity never came up.
Maybe if Homer, approached... What the hell was his name?
Fantastic Dan. I'm sorry.
No, the Carny. Cooter. Maybe if Homer approached Cooter and was like, look, getting out of hand, I need to, you guys need to leave. And then that was why Cooter kind of, swindled them, because he knew that they were going to force him out to leave.
When they went from charity to, you guys have to leave now, and that's when that makes it a little more malicious, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not malicious, a little more revengey and not as malicious.
Yeah.
Definitely. And, it's not that this is a perfect episode or anything, but yeah, I don't know how to change it to make it better, really.
Oh, well, one thing, actually, because I don't know how to fix it exactly, but letting the strangers stay at their house while they went on the ferry, something needed to be fixed there, because even watching it as a kid, I was like, why would they let them fucking stay there? Especially because Marge, is so... uptight about them being there, and she's completely justified. But to go from that to the next scene, all of them going without the
maybe
leaving Cooter.
Maybe imply a little bit more time's passed,
or imply a little bit more trust is built up, or they've proven their worth with cleaning a house or some simple shit like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. All right. So guest stars of the episode, it was just one, and it was Jim Varney, who played Cooter. And I only found this out doing the research tonight. He is a lot more prolific than I ever knew. He was just a voice to me in this episode. But then, Michael, you said, oh, isn't that the Slinky Dog from Toy Story? I'm like, fucking had a massive brain flash. I just couldn't believe that. Yeah, it totally is.
Yep.
And what else is he famous for?
Ernest.
He is the Ernest Does Stuff movie guy.
Yep. You know what I mean, Vern?
How many of those movies are there?
Oh,
there's about 6.
Actually, friends of the show, Pods in the Key of Springfield, were just saying on a recent episode that, Ernest Goes To was the Carry On Camping for America.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah.
Carry On movies.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, there was, just a sign gag one at some point when Bart sets Krabappel up to go on the date with Woodrow.
Yeah. And then he goes to see Ernest something.
Ernest
goes to the dentist, I think.
Hold on, I know the Frinkiac phrase that will get me to that exact scene.
Cool.
Help, but feel partly
responsible.
Ernest needs a kidney.
You find out how many movies they made of that?
Nah, there was just Ernest in the Army, Ernest Scared Stupid, which I actually Ernest Goes to Africa.
Oh geez, I bet that's not problematic.
I remember the Ernest scared stupid because the troll was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I remember that scaring the crap out of me as a kid.
Oh, slam dunk Ernest.
Yes, he just plays basketball. Pretty sure this goes to camp as well. So what
Yeah,
are we
Goes
up
to
five?
Camp is the one that I know.
Ernest goes to school. Ernest rides again. Fuck me. How many are they? Ernest saves Christmas.
Remember when people used to save Christmas? They don't do that anymore.
Okay, there was 10 films, 5 direct-to-video specials, and he did a bunch of commercials, which, who was saying that that's how he got his start?
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was how the character got its start, and it somehow turned into movies.
That's crazy. That's like if, like, Progressive Lady got a film franchise.
I'd watch that. You were just worrying about Ernest not being woke enough. You know who's progressive? Progressive.
And his other notable role was as Jed in the Beverly Hillbillies movie.
Mm-hmm. When he was out one day shooting at some food, and up from the ground came a bubbling crude.
Yep.
Oil, that is. Texas tea. Weird cross-reference, but I got it.
Yeah. Any chance to reference Weird Al. All right. So musical moments from this episode. The episode ends with Homer trying to get his ass groove back. How Homer got his ass groove back.
Yeah.
And it's done to the tune of Groove Me by King Floyd.
King Floyd, wow.
Yeah, I know. You'd think that it'd be a mashup of King Crimson and Pink Floyd.
Yeah, and I want to listen to that band and get high as fuck.
In the court of the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, they are a funk band, and I remember them mostly from the soundtrack to Grand Theft Auto 5.
Nice.
Nope, it was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
BT, do you have any other notes?
When they get to the carnival, he's like, I want some fried sugar.
That was Lisa that said that as well. We get a good sense of Kid Lisa in this
Yeah,
episode.
I really like that. I like kids acting like kids.
Yeah, because it's a weird thing where, you know, we're so up on character integrity, but we really love it where Lisa drops the whole nerdy thing and just...
the continual intellectual thing and is just an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah, because at times she's acting like a teenager, like...
Yeah, or a 21-year-old.
Or a grad student.
Someone you want to punch in the face.
Yeah, grad student.
Yeah.
I don't actually have problems with grad students.
I don't even know what one is. Yes, there's a great line of Homer. Well, it's not great. It's just weird enough that I like it. It's like, we'll start our own game where people throw ducks at balloons and nothing is as it seems. Which
what the hell?
I love because just like, yeah, it's just that what the hell line, but I get a good laugh out of every time. Wiggum's, oh, well, let's just wait for detective like I give a damn. Oh, thank you. Sits there, honey, daddy's waiting for the detective.
Yeah, and also an echo back to when Bart was like, Dad, I think he's asking for a break. Quiet now, sweetie. Daddy's talking to the policeman.
Yep.
Like, Bart doesn't know the situation.
Yeah. And there's another brief.
Carter.
When Homer's looking out the window, the whole family is in that extra other room that's there sometimes. But when Marge gets him to go sit down, they're in the living room. Everyone kind of teleports back a room.
You think we wouldn't notice? We did. It's Jordan's anal coda. Michael, any other notes?
Yeah, it was great to see Bart actually receive some consequences for being a dick.
Yeah.
With the Hitler mobile.
I mean, what did Hitler ever do to him?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, weird Hitler references playlist. I don't know if I want to make that playlist, though. But, you know, it can work.
Well, they're all making fun of him, so it's okay.
That car scene as well was funny with the rich Texan going, what could be in the boot? Hitler's skeleton or a spare tire? I don't know. I've never looked.
I'm a busy man. I've not looked.
Lastly, Skinner going for the knife during the ring toss. Oh, that's so good.
When Agnes is like, you're failing, Skinner. What is it with you and failure?
Yeah. It just reminded me of that older joke from the Brad Goodman episode when Skinner like is fighting with the mannequin and strangles her and rips
tears
it
apart
to
with his teeth,
shreds.
and it's like, we're still going antiquing on Sunday, right, Mother?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a nice difference than what we see with like emasculated Skinner around his mother. He's still got some sense of that Vietnam vet that...
Oh, yeah.
Interesting, because since this is the same season of Armin Tanzarian, was this
This is after.
This is after. So they were probably like, oh, fuck, we need to go back to, you know, Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, episode was probably written and being in production at this point, so... Because I know you've said that as far as the writing team was concerned, they're like, yeah, we just reset to 0. That whole Armazantarian thing doesn't count.
Yeah.
Even though, and all the fans are like, yeah, it does. That's the way canon works.
Plus, they referenced it in another episode further down the track where fucking Homer or someone said to Skinner, like, hey, Tanzarian.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's actually sort of an interesting thing. I'm not quite there on where my theory's at with this, but like that incident caused a change in the relationship of Skinner and Agnes is what I'm going for, in which that he was a bit more...
So he's constantly more apologetic and weak-willed now. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It still sucks, but...
Yeah, I'm still piecing together my theory, but like anything with trying to rely on Simpsons continuity, it all falls apart.
Yeah, as far as that joke goes, I'm totally ignoring the Armin Tanzarian bullshit and just looking at it as...
It's a good way to go through life.
Yeah. Yeah, just looking at it as purely like Skinner with that relationship with his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love dark jokes like that.
Yeah. Like, the zooms were so good on Agnes as well, which was just beating the point home that, like, you just want to take a Bowie knife to this woman.
And just the dripping sarcasm and bitingness in her voice. You know, what is it with you and failure?
Oh, that won't do. You got to aim over the peg.
Yeah. I'm trying, Mother. It's hard.
All right, it's time for my final notes.
We already did it. We don't do it every time.
I like doing it every time.
Fine, and now it's time for his final notes. Elliot's final notes.
We get a couple of good Nelson jokes in this episode, not just Fantastic Dan, but when his ho-ho is cut off by the door and he waits for the door to open again. You can tell he was just standing there waiting for that to happen. I really didn't like the Krusty standing next to the clown balloon water
Bit
thing.
labored, yeah.
Yeah, that was lame.
Why does this happen when I stand in this exact...
Even the way he delivered that line.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the way you did. Yeah, it's like, if this was real, you would ask the person shooting you in the face why they were doing it.
Yeah, but it does remind me of the joke in Eeny Teeny Maya Mo, where Homer's filling himself up with one of those hoses and his head's just expanding.
I forgot about that.
It's really horrible. Winning a comb playlist. So he gets a giant novelty comb in this one.
And at least he gets a mustache comb in the Nelson one, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, Bart gets a mustache comb. My apologies.
Yeah, no, got to be up on who gets
I'm
what
gonna get fired
mustache.
for that blunder.
Speaking of Movember.
Oh, yes. Everybody donate to anyone that's growing a mustache for November. Another joke that I thought was a bit laboured was when the car runs over the guy nailing the nail into his nose.
Yeah, because they've done that before in the Smashing Pumpkins episode.
They did.
Where he hammers his own thing. Ow.
Yeah. He was just like, ow, this really hurts. Oh, my God. And it was just a bit too long for me.
Yeah.
Are you going to get drunk and start a lot of trouble?
Hey, anything for you, boss.
Yeah.
Sure, anything you want.
And there was a bit here which, this is such a niche reference, but when Rich Texan goes, you're going to work like you never worked before. They used that soundbite in Club Veg, and they used to play it every show. Like, I don't know if you remember Club Veg. It was an old radio show on Triple M, and they were great. Malcolm and Vic, and I think one of them's dead, R.I.P., whichever one that is.
How old is the show?
Oh, this was from late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And, they were just a rock radio duo. They do prank calls, and they were super funny. And, they used to putting Foley sound effects into songs.
Right.
Like in Paul Kelly's To Her Door, every time he said to her door, they'd just have a door knocking. Really undercutting a really nice, meaningful song.
Yeah, we've all heard To Her Door 8 million times. So.
Yeah.
Down.
One thing that they did was do a song parody for your home suburb. And one of my favorites was to the tune of Californication, Dream of Parramatta Station. But the winner was, I'm from Blacktown. I smoke a Winnie Red. You're never going to kick me out. Anyway, I have a lot of nostalgia for Club Veg. And I doubt I'll be able to get a chance to talk about them again.
True.
I'll put this in the playlist of kids inexplicably not liking sweet things. Now, son, finish your cotton candy or you ain't going to get your snow cone.
Yeah, it's going to go well with Marge's Sundays.
What's wrong with my Sundays? Oh, another wacky joke. I can't believe we didn't talk about this. The smallest horse.
Yeah. Maybe it wouldn't be so small if you didn't go to the bathroom so much.
By the way, awesome detail that I didn't notice in Red Dead until my 10th hour or something. The horse is shit.
Oh, yeah, they shit all the time, too. Yeah. You'll be riding with them and they'll just be shitting.
Yeah. Hey, horses shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, the testicle sizes might not be accurate, but at least the shits are,
Yeah, I mean, I was in the process of giving the game a 9 out of 10, but then when I saw the horse shitting, I was like, this is a fucking 10 out of 10 for sure.
Masterpiece.
Perfection.
Game of the year.
Not enough games are brave enough to have shit in them.
20 years from now, we're going to be talking about, remember the first time we played Red Dead Redemption 2 and a horse was shitting while we were riding it?
And now video games all have shit in them. And it's nothing special, but remember where we were.
Remember the first time when you
all
saw
it
the
takes
horse
is one
shit.
pioneer, and then everyone follows.
The pioneer of diarrhea.
Or shit simulator.
So this is a bit of a niche reference, but when Homer and Bart get to ask to bite the heads off the chicken, first of all, like, that Homer's trying to bite it body first.
Yeah. Bit weird, but I got to laugh.
But apparently the way that they're talking each other through their teeth is a reference to Bob Hope and Bing Crosby's old routines.
Oh,
So,
really? When they bit the head off chickens.
yeah, it was during their concert with Alice Cooper and Ozzy Osbourne's.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love that
he's
he's
fucked.
I do like, Bart, do I like chicken? Does it matter?
Oh, I forgot to mention as well the pigeons bit where the carnies are seeing Homer as a pigeon. Oh,
He's literally walking around singing and just holding a wad of cash.
but it's such a great transition, and
Yeah.
props to Dan Castellano. Like, and then playing into Homer's lack of understanding. You know, how about we try and grift that guy? And it's the shifty guy with the cigar and the cards, and it's like very good. Oh, another bit of wackiness. Cooter's cigarette trick.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do it again?
Not for a while. Yeah, I know how to do that with a pencil, but not a lit cigarette. So,
Really?
yeah. It's the old,
Ah.
yeah. Great visual joke for everyone.
Now do
at
the
home.
second part.
All right. This one's tough.
Your listeners won't appreciate this.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, he pulled a pen out of his butt.
Not the first time, won't be the last.
Yes, the Simpsons Index, all your shit and pulling things out of butt talk.
That's actually a great idea. Let's do more audio magic tricks.
Mm.
And now, doves.
Then just add doves in post. Like,
Yeah. No, that sounded perfect.
Doves, doves.
I fucking love the joke of like Spuds playing the saxophone and Lisa like in here. Oh no, he's playing my saxophone. Oh, release the spit, fell.
Over the sink! Over the sink!
Yeah, most people won't know. I used to play trombone. That was actually
Really?
my first instrument.
I didn't know
and
that.
yeah, those things can build up a lot of spit.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
And the whole ruse with Homer doing the chimney ring toss over the roof thing. Like, I just think that was a really clever way to end the episode, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Something that was built on ring toss, ended on ring toss, and yeah.
Also showed that Homer can come up with some clever ideas.
Yeah. No, totally. Even if the big turning point in his plan where they get the house back is just everybody run inside right now.
Yeah.
Simple but effective.
Very. And yeah, I love the other detail that Lisa is literally hosing the couch down after they get back in.
Yeah, I kind of wish that was cut differently. Like, he throws the ring and it just follows the ring, and the Cooter and Spud are just watching the ring go up, and then it misses, and they turn and go, wait, where are they? And they just run
then
inside.
they're laughing through the mail
Yeah.
slot. Yeah, I'm totally down with that. It is time to rank this thing. Michael, your turn to go first.
Ew. Silver.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to say a solid silver. Not one of my favorites, but still part of a pretty classic era of The Simpsons. Has a lot of good jokes, but I just don't like the Carnies dynamic, and I don't like the characters.
Yep.
And the whole logic of them being able to swift them into leaving the house. Other than that, all the jokes are fucking awesome.
Yeah. Man, I was on the silver before we started talking about it, and I'm just like, there are a lot of fundamental problems in this episode, and I will just say for the record on the podcast that I was so close to going silver. Like, I was sure I was going silver the whole time, but I've got to go with my guts, and my guts are saying gold. How about you, BT?
Again, I'm on the same, but I'm right on a Gilver territory, and I'm just trying to figure out, because really, after Fantastic Dan, I only took 4 notes. I think this is a half gold, half silver episode. First half gold all the way. Second half is about a silver. I feel like I'm going to fall on the side of silver for this one. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not as great as, some of the stuff we've given gold to. So I'm very split. It's a high silver, but I'm going to give it a silver. I mean, it's a tough one because it is, I think, very 50-50. For every couple of jokes that really land, there's one that doesn't. For the story that does roll very well, there's the parts that don't. And again, it's not something I want to change a lot about. It's just, its overall product is still good. It's the silver.
Yep. All right, and this will be joining the ranks of the shiny silvers, which is actually a category that I consider to be a bunch of outlier episodes where if you're looking at this group of episodes, you've got shiny silver, really? Like, because...
that's a tough call, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was Pokemon, which we reviewed last week with Sins D, the patent pending, who's that guy? And it'd also be joining Springfield Up, where they do like a 7-Up documentary, but in Springfield. Also Weekend at Burnsies, where Homer gets fully into weed. It's actually the first classic era shiny silver. Also Season 10's Monty Can't Buy Me Love, where they steal the Loch Ness Monster.
Yep.
Teens classic, I reckon.
I like that one. I think I was the gold on that one.
Yeah. And Half Decent Proposal, where Artie Ziffs offers like $1 million to have Marge for a weekend.
That one did way better than I remember.
Yeah, that was with Maddie, and she gave that the gold on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very silly episode, but you see what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all like these outlier episodes.
It's one where people are going to be divided because you either have a good time and enjoy it for that, or you notice the problems and they kind of bug you a bit more.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that about does it for the Simpsons Index tonight. But before we get out of here, we just want to recommend some things that we're liking this week to you, the good folks at home. So, BT, what are you liking this week?
You know what? On Maddie's recommendation, have I already said that I checked out My Dad Wrote a Porno? And I got some laughs.
Not on the podcast, no.
Okay, yeah. So on Maddie's recommendation, I checked that out. I got some laughs. I don't think I'm going to continue past one season, but for the one season, pretty damn funny.
Oh, awesome. I've been meaning to check that out, and I still haven't yet.
Yeah, it helps that they're British. These kind of stoic Brits talking about ridiculous sexual situations. A little bit funnier.
All right, I'm down with that. How about you, Michael? Is there anything you're into this week that you'd like to recommend for people out there?
I guess because the new Halloween remake came out, I've just been going through all these John Carpenter movies. I fucking love John Carpenter.
Yep, he's the man.
He's so good. So I watched Escape from New York the other night. Then I watched Vampires with James Woods, and both films were really good. Big Trouble in Little China, I've seen 1,000,000 times. Gonna rewatch The Thing again, and
I was about to say, if you don't mention The Thing,
it's what favorite horror movie ever, man.
I've still got to get that because something that everyone says during the podcast at some point is go, here's the thing. And I always want to be able to pull out that DVD and go, no, here's the thing.
I got it on Blu-ray.
Nice.
yeah, I have it on DVD
So good.
upstairs.
What are we doing with Ellis?
The other day I saw that I had the remake in my collection. I was like,
Throw that shit right the
out of
fuck
here.
out.
Throw it away.
Throw it out the window.
Good.
Although he didn't direct the remake, he had a lot of influence in it and worked on the soundtrack because he's composed a lot of the music for most of his films.
Yeah, and it's interesting that
Wait, Carpenter composed his own music?
Yeah.
Wow.
he's a musician as well. The very famous Halloween theme is his. I was going to say, it's interesting with the Halloween movie that it's the sequel, but only to the first one. They're deleting the entire rest of the...
I was talking
That's
about
so weird.
this with someone, and Halloween has the worst continuity as far as any fucking horror franchise I've ever seen.
And that's saying something.
Because, like, there was Halloween, then there was Halloween 2, straightforward sequel, like, the day of... like straight after what the
I think
events
it's like
of the
2
first
days
movie.
after the first one,
Yeah,
or something
and
like
it's
that.
like he's still chasing Laurie Strode and this and that. Then Halloween 3, it goes off and
where they were trying to make it more of a
anthology. Sorry,
anthology. Yeah,
and it was weird. Then they went back to Halloween with Mike Myers. Then it just goes way off.
Yep.
The story just goes all over the place.
It's definitely not a bad thing to delete the rest of the history just to do a direct sequel to the original. It's just, it sets a weird precedent that Hollywood can do that now.
Well, it's confusing as well because it's just called Halloween. It's not called Halloween 2.
That's what I hate. And like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street doing these. Forget the fact that they're shitty reboots.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even changing the title. Like,
yeah, so then you have to specify. I mean, so even though I like the Evil Dead remake, when I tell people my favorite movie is Evil Dead, I have to specify it's the old one.
yeah, I kind of wish they did that with God of War as well, because it's not like the first God of War is that old either.
Just a subtitle, if not a sequel number, you know, something to differentiate. It's annoying.
Yeah, but it still should have been called God of Boy.
Boy.
That's no.
God of God.
All right, so for my recommendations, actually a podcast that I listen to on and off, Song Exploder, which is like breakdowns of songs with the people that wrote them and produced them and stuff. Actually, I had to check. Yeah, they have one about John Carpenter's Halloween, so that's a great podcast, Song Exploder. One I've just started getting into is Free to a Good Home with Michael Hing and Ben Jenkins. They go through Gumtree listings and just laugh at them. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, they find some real bizarre shit. Yeah, and the big one is Reply All. This is a podcast that I got into after our friends over at Pods in the Key of Springfield made a parody episode of their show about in the style of Reply All. And I thought that was really funny, so I thought, hey, I'll check out this Reply All thing. And yeah, it is fascinating. It is like people contact these people with like technological problems. Like one episode I listened to recently was a girl who got like her Snapchat account hacked, and like the person said, you know, if you try and get this account back, we will find you. And then they just did a deep dive to try and find out who it was, and then they found like this big ring of people who are phishing for these like one word unique social media account names, and her social media account name was @lizard. Yeah, it's just fascinating as fuck, like how deep this shit goes. Anyway, all right, so I've been yakking on long enough. It's time for us to get out of here. Thank you again, Michael Pisciuneri, for joining us tonight.
No problemo. And if you guys enjoyed listening to my voice, you can hear me every week on the Oz Culture podcast. At the time of this recording, our latest episode was on Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen biopic.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more of your thoughts on that. Yeah, and your Red Dead episode was really good as well. Lots
Thank
of
you.
relatable stories for that game. And thank you, BT Calloway.
Thank you. If you want to hear more of my voice, just continue looking at the Simpsons Index.
Same goes for me, your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house!
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
Damn young people in your Pac-Man video game.
They're just not on the trolley.
What rubes.
I just wanted to point this out as well. I liked when I was flipping through this notebook and the first page I got said, "Fuck this episode" in big letters, and then had a giant penis.
Yep.
I was thinking to myself, what episode was that?
Yeah, I think there's a page earlier that says this episode is great and it has a penis anyway. I think. I don't know, I can't remember now.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't my note.
No, that was from David James Young from Hottest 100s and Thousands, who, yep. all over their guest notebook in his notes. Speaking to the quality of the episodes that I showed him.
You can tell the difference because on the episode he likes, the penis is ejaculating.
And on top of that, on the penis it says, "Frickin' epic, dude." Man, he went to town with the pubes on this, man.
I like that as a review system, how well drawn the penis is and how good the episode was.
No, like the pubes are on the shaft as well. It's amazing.
Oh, that dick has got shaft pubes. Ew. Hairy for her pleasure. Anyway, I'm bailing out of that one. Also, fuck the word upcycling. It's just recycling. It's not different.
Or repurpose, at least.
Well, I mean, even then, that's what recycling is.
Yeah. Well, then recycling at least implies that you're like melting it down and reconstructing it rather than repurposing it. But yeah, upcycling is an awkward and annoying word. That's it. Fire!